Guys,
Hey, we're live for the last time.
the
of
last time of
2024.
2024. This is pretty crazy. I will say that this year's gone by really, really fast.
Yes.
So it's pretty wild that we're sitting here. I mean, it's December 27th, and we're doing the first annual year-end special. So this is going to be different than what we typically do, and we're going to explain that in just a second. First, I want to introduce ourselves. My name is Mike Narks. I'm the host of the Drag Drive Repeat show and news, which is like I don't know. We do 2 weekly live streams, all that kind of stuff for information and entertainment from the Drag and Drive community. And then my right hand man, Mr. Eric White, over here. Introduce yourself, and let's get into this.
I am Eric White, co-host of the show in the news, right-hand man, which means I help out with everything drag, drive, repeat, the circuit, artwork, racer profiles, all that stuff, photography, whatever needs to be done, I'm here to help. And if you guys don't know, I haven't said this in a while, but I do run my own YouTube channel, which is 815 LSX Swaps, which is only 27 subscribers away from hitting 4,000. Goal of doing that by the end of the year. So if you don't follow, please go check that out. Obviously, there's a lot of drag and drive content on there because I attend a lot of events. And there will be the build for the Fox Body Mustang Twin Turbo LS that I will be putting together, hopefully to compete in a drag and drive in 2025.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal. We're gonna keep pushing for that. And then update on my old truck. Steven came over yesterday. We're gonna take it to his house in February. So it's kind of the updates from right now. But guys, listen, before we do this, we got to say thank you for being our race car friends for this year. It's been crazy. We're gonna probably talk about a recap in one of the first shows of next year, which will probably be on New Year's Day or the 2nd. And I don't know, man. Race Car Friends have been awesome this year. You guys have helped us grow, but help us one more time. Hit the share button right now so we can get some more folks in here and watch this. Because tonight, again, is just a completely different episode. We sent out invites to 12 or 15 people, maybe, I don't know, maybe more. And folks are just going to kind of rotate through tonight, telling stories from their drag and drive experiences. I'm sure that we'll start with some 2024 stuff, and it will migrate into other stories that come up. We'll have a couple different people on stage here, I guess, whatever you want to call this, on screen at a time. And so once you get some drag and drive racers talking, the stories really come out. And that's kind of what we're doing tonight. So this is going to be kind of fun. We are calling it episode 93. So we'll see how that ends up, how that plays out. We may, I don't know, may skip that. I don't know, but we're going to have fun. Can't do it without you guys. So please hit the share button. And if you're not already doing it, subscribe to us. And I just want to say thank you to our sponsors for making 2024 one of the greatest years we've ever seen. So Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Chains 3D, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, J-Wire Solutions, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk Classifieds. We can't do it without you guys. Thank you so much. And I look forward to maybe a few more names going up on there. And, as we go through all the fun stuff of the first couple of weeks of 2025, what becomes of all that. And again, if you didn't know it, Summit Racing Speed Legacy began in 1968 as a one-man operation and is now the world's speed shop with 4 huge facilities and 200 plus catalog editions. That's all I remember from the ad read. If you don't shop at Summit, get out of here, leave, see you later, bye, because they're the best. They treat us right. They'll treat you right. They'll ship fast, all that kind of stuff. So, all right, let's get into this thing, man.
Should we hit the show intro one last time for 2024?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
We're gonna pack things up and hit the road, try to make it the next day.
Well, here's how this is going to work. Again, we're going to bring folks in. We're going to let them introduce themselves, tell us where they're from, what they drive, and then we're just going to get into some stories. There's literally no rhyme or reason to what we're going to be talking about tonight, except that it's drag and drive related stuff and the stories that come from these racers. So the first,
What are you drinking on tonight? I think
dude,
that's what we got to start with.
so I have my custom tumbler here. There's one in existence of this, made by Travis Wise Revved Up Laserworks, and I'm drinking some Cayman Jack Margarita tonight. So we're gonna kind of keep funneling through those as we go through the night. What are you drinking, sir?
I have none other than a garage beer. So
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else drinks garage beer, but if you do, you should tag garage beer and let them know you're watching your favorite automotive podcast, the Drag Driver Pete Show. And just in case they'd be interested in, I don't know, being one of the names on the list here. Just saying.
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be a great weekly sponsor. Well, let's bring in the Grabiacs first, and they are the most recent guests on the show. They were the last, I guess, guests on the show of 2024, and the first one's on tonight for the first annual year-end special. So, guys, introduce yourself. Who you are, where you're from, and then, I mean, you guys have such a fleet. We kind of went over this the other day, but tell us what you have.
Well, I'm Jay Grabiak. We're from Greensburg, Pennsylvania. I've got the 55 Chevy that I run in the gas array class and a 67 Nova that I won at Midwest Drags that I use for my index racing and just for some dial your own pro, what's that, pro DYO that they do at Sick Week. That's about it. We went over the cars last week, and technically I think I did forget two vehicles. We forgot Riley's short bed Chevy, 2004. And then we forgot to talk about my F-150 work truck, the new thing that Ford puts out with the Whipple supercharger. So we could add that to the collection of little cars that we bust around in a little bit. So good, Tanya.
Well, I'm Tanya Grabiak, mom. I am a passenger. I help. He calls me the trunk monkey. But I have an 88 Firebird. I haven't participated in any of the drag and drives yet. I don't know if I ever will, because I kind of just been in the mix with being mom and helping out. And but that's about it.
We need someone to get a spirit pizza, so we can't let her drive. So.
But yeah, I'm Tim Grabiak. I have a 1968 Camaro, and running the SME class, and was that small block naturally aspirated. Just have fun.
Yeah, your car is awesome, dude. I'm a huge fan of that car. The color, the way it sits, the wheels that are on it, it's good looking.
Yeah, he definitely did a good job over winter on that.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, like always. It's with every progress. So.
Yeah, they're never done, right?
Yeah, it's never done. So, but.
And we're missing Riley tonight. She's away, so.
She's on a ski trip. She opted to be away from us, which we're pretty pissed off about. I don't know if we're gonna let her back in the family right now, but we'll talk about it over dinner later. So.
Yeah, skiing. That's not what happened. Like car people, man. She's going somewhere else to look at other cars. That's what it is. Yeah,
probably. She's heading up north into New York and then over to Canada. So we don't know what she's gonna be bringing back. So we don't know.
Yeah.
She's into something. She's pretty slick. So.
That's awesome. Well, listen, y'all know what the deal is for tonight. You said you had made some notes, man. Let's get into it. Tell us some stories.
Well, I mean, it depends how I was just looking at things from this year. I mean, the stories could go on forever. We got rolling last week about it. It was like, holy crap! I kept remembering this and that and whatever. Probably like as far as the newest story goes, I think probably my number one. I was trying to think of the best one of this year. It was the 24 kickoff. Or the end of the season, was this year a friend of ours that we got to know in 23 at the Midwest Drags, Devin Noyes, if I pronounced that right. He's from Vermont, and he got a 70-some Duster with I believe an LS in it, 5-stick car. Got to meet him at Midwest Drag, him and his crew, and drinking some beers and laughing. Super great people. They weren't from this community. They're not from the drag and drive community. They do rock crawlers and those side-by-sides, and that's what they do up in Vermont. That's what they do. That's just their forte, and they build them, and they're really great builders at it. And they thought, well, let's put a car together and go do one of these drag and drive events. Let's try it out. They've never been racing. So they come to Midwest Drags and they just absolutely loved it. We're going to do another one. We're going to do another one. We become friends over the course of that year, and he hits me up and he's like, I'm thinking about Drag Week. Which one are you guys doing? I give him the list, and he's like, holy shit, I got to pick one. I can't do them all. But regardless, he comes to Drag Week this year, and he's in the SME class, and he gets our hotel list. We give him the list, and he stays with us. With us all week, runs pretty much with us, and so he goes on a week, and I think he was in maybe the top 10 or 15 cars with his ET. So he made the 32-car shootout. So it's the last day. We're sitting in the parking lot. Things proceed. We're having some beers and pizza, and everybody's laughing and giggling. And he's like, hey, he says, I think I'm going to have to turn my car up tomorrow. I said, why? And he's going to tell me what position he's in. And he goes, but I don't know anything how to race. Like, how do I go about doing the bracket race? I'm like, you don't know anything about bracket racing? He's like, no. So it's now 3:00 in the morning, and I'm giving him a tutorial on how to bracket race. He's like, he wants his lights better. I'm like, it's a pro tree. You see that top bulb flinch, your stick car, just leave. So giving the spiel, I said, with your average, it's going to be sandbags. So go ahead, turn the car up. Teaching them how to look over his shoulder, play the game. Dump in and maybe hit the brakes a little bit. Don't run up. So the next day comes about. He turns the car up a little bit. He goes and he starts playing the game when it comes to the 32-car field. And every time he rides by, we're at the end of we're parked. We're at the end of the pits. So he come by and he thumbs up. He made it another round. I kind of lost track because we had so much other stuff going on. So the final time he comes through, I'm like, well, are you still in? Yeah. He goes, I won. I'm like, what do you mean you won? He goes, I did everything and I won. So he goes on. He's never bracket raced anything in his life. Goes and wins SME class, bracket racing. And the guy, I forget who it was. Let me see here. Rick Dorney, I think it was. But Rick, so Devin meets him, and I guess I said, well, you didn't tell that guy you've never bracket raced before, did you? He goes, oh, yeah, I told him I've never done this before.
Oh,
my
man.
life. And I'm like, oh, I was about to be so pissed off.
Oh, yeah, because Rick's
Yeah,
and Rick's a huge racer. He races all over the Southeast.
Yeah, so that's what he was telling the story. And sorry, I don't know so much information on him, but I said you couldn't have possibly told. He's like, I did. I told him, and I'm like, oh my, right, take a swing at you. But it was just that there was that story there. We had one. We were telling the stories last week about the telling people about the car show. Is there a car show? Yeah, go here, go down to Dollar General, make the left. There's gonna be a church, blah blah blah. So we were leaving Kentucky for Midwest Drags. It was a group of us, and a buddy of mine texted me right after the show last week and said, "You need to tell them about the lady that sat in her truck waiting for us to leave Waffle House so she could follow us to the car show." So we go. We pull in, we're leaving, the cars are loaded on a trailer, so we get up the next morning from the hotel, and there's a Waffle House there. So we go over to the Waffle House, and this lady, pulls in where we are. She's like, hey, what's going on? Is there a car show or something? We're like, well, yes, there is. You know where the Dollar General's at. So we give her the spiel. And then she's like, well, what's the address? I want to go. And I'm like, well, I everything's in the car. I'm not sure. She's a local, so I'm thinking, oh, boy, I really pushed the envelope here. So now she's asking everybody around us, hey, where's the address? I'm going to go. Well, I'll follow you guys there. And so we're kind of blew her off, and we went in to eat. And it takes us about an hour to eat. And she's still sitting out there in her truck, waiting. We're thinking, oh, my God. Well, she's going to have to follow us all the way back to Pennsylvania. I don't know. She's following us. Needless to say, she didn't. She got sidetracked or whatever the deal was. And then
That's awesome.
But yeah, we thought that was coming to bite us in the ass with that whole Waffle House thing.
Yeah, that'd have been great. She's just following you 35 miles. You're like, I don't know, dude. This lady's still
Yeah, that's what we figured. She'd probably figure it out once we started getting really far away. 100 miles. Maybe she'd figure we're not going to a car show. But we had that, and some of the more key one. I think probably one that I would talk to. We did just about the community drag and drive and the things you do for people while you're there. Is a friend of ours came along this year. He's now, I think he's already texted me once. So now when he hears that I'm going to throw this story in there, he's going to probably put his pants back on and dance around the house or pull them off. But so his alternator broke on Midwest Drags. That was the one I was getting to last week about the Chinese alternator or whatever. And he wouldn't buy a replacement. Couldn't find a replacement when we needed it, so he didn't purchase one beforehand. long story short with that, I go ahead and help him fix this alternator with some JB welded wire through the fields, and I'm doing this, and the groundskeepers come over from Bowling Green, and they're going on, they're like, that ain't gonna work. And I'm like, yeah, it'll work. I'm checking continuity, and I JB weld a little bit the wire down, and then check continuity, just make sure nothing was transferring through the armature. And just to get this thing going, we had no other options. We tried, we tried sourcing alternators back and forth at parts stores, internet calls. So a couple hours goes on, we get this thing fixed up, dried up, put the car together. Groundskeepers are there now. They were in. Their wives are calling them, hey, what's going on? I thought you're coming for dinner. Like, we have to see if this thing's really going to charge. So we fired the car up. It charges. And we get on the road. And it was the longest drive of the day. I think
That was like 6 hours.
It was late.
It was like 6 hours.
6 or 8 hours. We didn't get in until 6 in the morning. And in one of the posts I had mentioned about, I said, I'm sure the hell hope somebody's in the parking lot drinking beer. Figured, haha, it's funny. Well, here we come rolling in at 6 in the morning, and a buddy of ours, Rob and Tom, they're sitting in their chairs waiting for us to have beer at 6 in the morning. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I was like, well, you guys are truly my friends, and thanks. And we had 2 beers, and then we went in, breakfast sandwiches, went to bed, showered, and back at the track. It was like one of the days that we could get to the track at 10 or 11 or whatever the time was.
Damn.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, those were. There's so many stories, and I could probably keep coming up with more. I just didn't want to chew too much of your time up tonight. But yeah, there's those couple there.
Well, what I'd like to do is bring Kevin Jackson on and have you guys stay on here, and because I'm sure he's going to have some stories, and then y'all can kind of help, get us through those, and then we'll kick you guys off, let him tell some, and then we'll bring somebody else on.
Sure thing.
So for everybody that doesn't know, hang on, I'm getting it figured out here. There we go. Kevin came back from a vacation today to be on the show tonight. So thank you for your vacation short and coming back to be on the show tonight.
Yeah, we were in Cancun. We're like Playa del Carmen area, and we're like, we got to go. We got to cancel our trip. I need to be there for Narcs and Eric. I got to go. So I left the wife. I was like, I'm out of here. I need to go do this. Not really. But that's
the story we're telling everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
No, we just got home like a couple hours ago. I mean, we literally just unpacked and everything, and I got everything together and ran downstairs and like threw everything together. I'm like, okay, let's do this real quick. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on though, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah. Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Oh man, sure. I can't wait to hang out this year. Hopefully we're going to do a little bit of that this year. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you drive.
Kevin Jackson. I'm also known as Lil Deuce or Lil Deuce Coupe or Lil Deuce 7.9. I'm the one that drives the 32 Ford 5-window coupe. Red oxide. It's like it's a true old school style hot rod that I built. I've done Drag Week the past 3 years. I didn't do it this year. But yeah, it's just a naturally aspirated 306. I upgraded it 1 year, and man, it was awesome. We like the first 2 years we were running pretty much 14 flat. I dipped into the 13s a couple times, and then over the winter I had upgraded it to like just old school 90s like build, GT40P heads, trick flow stage 1 cam, nothing insane, just mild. But it's a stick car, and it picked up 1.5 seconds. I mean it.
Wow.
And I didn't even test it. What was the funny thing was I didn't even test it before we went down to South Carolina. I was like, screw it, let's just go. So I mean, it was no joke when I took off out of the line. Like it was like, holy shit, and I grabbed second and then grabbed third. I'm like, God dang. I got to the end of the track, and that thing's a little go-kart, and it was like, I mean, I'm like holding on and it's bouncing around. I'm like, Jesus. So it's really cool too, because everybody that was there, I think the Gravy X, you guys were all there too, but like Jeremy Heiser, my buddy Ross Cherubkai, my co-pilot Chase Yock, Kevin Dunn, Jesse Martin, Jeremy Stelford, but all these guys were on the starting line watching because they were all hoping for that 12. Like that was my goal with that car, was to get a 12. And then you can hear them in the live feed when I hit. It was like a 1260 or something like that, and everybody just like screaming. You could hear everybody going wild. It was so great.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. But yeah, so that's what I drive. But that I've retired that car from racing. It's a really special car to me. I've had it for a long time, and it's been kind of in my dad's like hot rod family for quite a while. So my main goal with that car was to run 12s. And I think, Jay, you said it the other day too, that my main thing with that car was going to be a one and done. Like I wanted to do drag week. That was the main reason I built that car, to pull a trailer, run 12s, and just, and I did that. So now it's like, I don't want to keep racing it. And if I would ever wad that thing up in the top end or something, man, I would be severely hurt, because all it has is lap belts in it.
Ooh,
All it has is lap belts. And then, I could never rebuild that thing. So, that's why
You'd wad it up, I'd be there for you because you were there for me. So.
Oh, that's true. I was there for you. Yeah, that was the first year we met. And when Jay crashed his 55 at US 131, it was like, I was done. My time card was turned in. I was done. I immediately got the trailer. I think I got Riley and Timmy, right? I pick you guys up, and I took.
Yeah, everybody was passing them up, and they were trying to get to the top end or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
The track people even give me and Riley a ride. We're running down the side of the track, and they're like, "Yeah, your father just hit the wall, but we're not going to give you a ride,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, that car is gonna. It's just my hot rod. That's why I have fun with and stuff. I still might do stuff like, the sick ward or like drag pack or something, things like that sometimes, and just go and have fun. But we're building an 81 Ford Fairmont 4-door now. It's a 4-door, and it's got 4 Kirky seats in it. And it's going to have harnesses in each seat, and it's going to be like the ultimate, I think, have fun, drag and drive type of vehicle, pull a trailer, but put four people in it to have fun with. And so, that'll be fun. Hopefully. And that's hopefully for this year, our goal is to run drag week or Six Smokies. We're not sure yet. We're going to wait and find out where the tracks are for Six Smokies, and then decide.
What's the power plant going to be for that?
It might probably make a lot of people mad, but just basic 6.0 LS, VS Racing Turbo, Turbo 400. It's got a nice cage in it that I just bought. I always wanted to do my own cage. I had never done one before, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. Like, this is the perfect car that I could do it on, because when I found this car, I messaged my buddy Chase, my copilot Chase Yock, and I was like, dude, check this out. I'm like, think about this. Like, okay, Fox body chassis. I know everybody's Fox body. Some people are like, oh, Fox bodies, blah, blah, blah. But they flat out work. Bolt-on stuff is awesome. Yeah. I sent him a picture of it. We went and looked at it. It was in mid-Missouri. And it was out in the field. And I offered him $600 for it. So, and it came with a title.
Wow.
So, yeah. But then when I brought it home, it's nicknamed Atrocious. That's its name, Atrocious. Because it's not the prettiest thing. And when I brought it down the driveway, my wife came outside and looked at it, and she goes, "That thing is effing atrocious," and walked back inside.
Yes.
And I said, "You just named the car. That's perfect. Atrocious."
That's great.
Yeah.
For her, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're trying to get her to go this year.
I'm gonna say that you need to get her to go.
I know you're gonna have to text her or something or talk to her about it, because she's like, I don't know how many girls go. What about? I was like, you'll have fun with us. I promise. It'll be a good time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's nothing more fun than a huge group. Hang on.
Mike says, sounds like a killer show car.
I might win some more trophies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike's got a killer show car. He just will never leave the garage. He's got a Fox too.
Ooh. Hey, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty atrocious, dude.
Yeah.
I love it. So I pass a 4-door Fairmont every time I go to my brother's house. That's like the most faded red you've seen, and I just drool. I'm like, man, I need
Dude.
that.
I love them too because, like, so that right there, the hubcaps on there, you know, it's the adapters and everything. So they're well drag light wheels and everything. So I wanted to kind of that sleeper look. Hurt
Yeah,
some
that'll be
feelings
perfect.
with.
Four adult dudes in there and just
Yeah.
long rollers. You're in.
Yes, exactly. All like my main goals were that was like I want to run 10 O's just to run SME. You know, run against Graviac.
I'm not going.
She says, I'm not going.
She's awesome. I think she needs to go to leave you at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. I don't even know what I was saying. She threw me off.
She could have just yelled it down the steps. I'm not going.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
Well,
man.
hang on. Before we let the Graviacs go, Timmy, there was somebody that said, tell us about the drain plug fiasco.
Oh boy. So I can teach everyone how to change your oil with no wrench and no gloves or like brake clean to wash your hands or anything. Just a straight shot. Just hit a bump at 60 mile an hour,
Something
and
like that.
it'll take a drain plug right out. So that happened on 666, and rolling down old 66, and I was driving, and we were both kind of just like do, and well, there was a bump in the road, and boom, and came up over the crest of the hill, and I looked back in the mirror, and there was a little bit of smoke, pulled over, and it just grabbed like the corner of the drain plug off the Moroso pan that we have on the car, on our 66 Chevelle. And it just spun the drain plug right out and didn't screw up the threads or anything.
So when we talked about this last time, I was envisioning it in the back, and I kept thinking, man, how did it grab it at that? But if it was on the side, yeah, that makes sense. Listen,
Yeah,
somebody tag Moroso and see if that's ever happened before, because that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought the worst. We figured it was gonna be JB Well, and that was it, you know. But
Yeah, it was quite an experience.
But we had like 40 people looking for it. Because we kind of knew where it was going to be, but nobody found it until I think we all gave up.
Yeah.
And his name?
Me and Eric left by that point to go, and we're on our way to an auto parts store to pick up another drain plug. And then one of the guys that we met along the way throughout that trip.
Mexican Jesus.
Yeah,
we call
Mexican
Mexican
Jesus.
He come over the hill, and it was just the knoll was right. We're in New Mexico, and the heat was just slithering off of the road, and you just hear this music, and it was just a drain plug coming up, and then he just come over, and there's a picture of him just holding that drain plug with his little mustache. And he handed me the drain plug and then ran off into the weeds. So we didn't call our Mexican Jesus. He saved the day.
So we
That's
ended up
awesome.
finding it.
Yeah. And that drain plug is still in the car right now.
We can't take it out.
Yeah.
No.
It's now sentimental. You can only use two sides of it to tighten it. So we
Yeah.
have but
The rest of it's sheared off,
Yeah.
so it's.
Yeah, that's a great. So here's you listen. You pull into a place that changes oil, and you pull in there like, hey, I need an oil change. They get in there like, what happened to this plug, man?
yeah, that's just it.
Yeah.
I just want it so that when their kids get the car, they can, they'll change the oil and be like, what the hell? Why did someone change this? It's so shoddy. Well, at least there's a story with that,
Yeah.
So.
That's exactly right.
We made a gasket. What is it?
Yeah.
Out of a reflector or something like that.
Yeah.
You used a pair of like medical scissors out of just the first aid kit and cut this gasket and stuff out of a piece of reflector and slapped it in and kept on rolling.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then Jay, Michael Costello here said that's a hefty beer bottle. What the heck is that you're drinking out of there?
Oh, that's my the champagne.
Oh my
beer.
God.
These are my big fellas. These are specialties. You know, you can't get them, and when you do, I think the last time they were available, me and my buddy, we bought 32 cases of these, and I'm down to. I think I'm down to like maybe 2 cases now, and I thought, well, this is a special occasion, so I'm going to drink my special.
It expired 3 years ago.
Yeah, but they're still delicious. I mean,
yeah.
When you have enough of them, they're all good. So I think it's only 20 some ounces. So
that's awesome.
25. So that's it. That's what I'm drinking.
Well, Gravy X, you know, I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. I'm going to put you backstage. If you hear Kevin telling a story that you need to chime in on, please like wave your hands around, or if you want to come back on and tell something, please do. Okay.
Well, we thank you and Happy New Year, everybody. Yeah. But we can't really stick around because we got to head down to the church. We're meeting up with the people from Dollar General. We're setting up our show for next year, Kevin Jackson. So I'll probably
make sure to take the signs too. You know that my wife made those signs for you guys just for that reason.
We make them because they're spelled correctly. So, well, you guys all have a Merry New Year or Happy New Year, I should say, and thank you to all their viewers and everybody else and your sponsors. I know we use Summit and all of those guys and MAF and all of them. So yeah, good stuff, and thank you guys for the opportunity.
Awesome. We appreciate it.
Thanks. We'll see you soon. Bye. How fun, dude. All right, so tell us, we were kind of razzing you a little bit before the show started, but you got like this, you've got all of your trophies out on your kitchen counter there, and tell us what's going on backstage and or behind you, and then let's get into some stories. And I want to give Danny and Carl that are backstage, you guys will be on momentarily, I promise. Give us about 10-12 minutes with Kevin, and then we'll start rotating folks.
So a couple things. One was we were talking about beers. So this is Alaskan Amber. I don't know if you've ever had that or not. It's pretty good beer. So yeah, that's what I'm drinking. Mark Cicino sponsored. You know. So, anyways, this is always a joke with the Gravy Axe and our whole crew that we roll with the car show stuff. And like you saw in the back of the car. Whenever 666 was going on, they were coming right through here because we live right off 66 near St. Louis, Missouri. And I thought, you know what would be awesome? Like, they were all supposed to come here, like Jeff Oppenheim, Dan Nissen, Montana Dan, all the guys that were in their crew that were coming through here because they were coming from Chicago and coming down. Mm-hmm. So I said, I want to make some car show signs. So when they come down the driveway, because we were just going to have a party in my shop, I'm like, it'll be a car show, like car show parking here. And I made some little trophies and everything for them that was like best in show. And Jeff Oppenheim got best gasser. And so it's always a joke with all of us about like, because everywhere we stop, it's, you know, if you got 5-7 cars together, or whatever, 10 all rolling together, it's like their minds are blown. Like, what's going on? Was there a car show around here? So I just decided to bring them all out. But like some of them are legit. I mean, you know, that was my hot rod 3rd place that I got. There were only 3 in my class that year, but hey, I mean, I still got. I finished.
I finished Hot Rod Drag Week and Hot Rod.
Yeah. Which was awesome because my wife and son were there too to see it at Gateway or Worldwide Technology now. So, but like some of these other ones, I mean, they're no shit. They're my dad's old trophies when he raced at Alton Dragway. He's got a 33 Plymouth Coupe that he still owns. He got it when he was 17 years old. He's 76 now, 70, yeah, somewhere around there. But he's still got the car. He used to race it for a while at Alton and then kind of turned it into a hot rod. And that's what I grew up in.
How cool. Well, dude, tell us a story from 2024 or 2023, something like that from some drag and drive experience.
Okay. So I got a couple that I wrote down. One, so 23, I kind of touched on this a little bit. That was awesome. That was a great year. And that was just, you know, I ran 12s every day. That was what I wanted to do with that car. So it was awesome. And those drives were just great. But when 23 ended, 24, let's see. So 23, we did 6 summer. That's what it was. We did 6 summer with my son. Like that was the sick ward. We did that. I said, let's just go have fun. He's got a little S10, 2003 S10 that he got when he was 14. And we've been fixing it up ever since, like lowered it, like true, like 90s style, something I had an S10 back then too. It was just lowered, put a subwoofer in it, put some wheels on it, tint the windows, cool little truck. So we did the sick ward, and 23, and it was so cool too. Cause he got first introduced to it, and he was 15 at the time. So he was on his permit, and after we finished, he was like it was the last day. I just kind of, bumped him a little bit cause he drove the whole time. And I said, you made it, buddy. Good job. And he was like, I want to race next year. I said, I want to do this next year. I was like, yes. Okay, let's go. So, in 24, that was because I decided not race the coupe anymore. And I got the Fairmont. I was like, I can't do these events, a bunch of them, and build a car. I just can't do it. So I was like, I won't do drag week. I won't do anything for 24. And let's just focus on you at 6 summer. So, excuse me, we signed up, he got in, and at 16 years old, it was just cool. Like we didn't even get time for him to make a pass here in St. Louis. So the first day was his first pass at Tech Day. So it was awesome too. Like Fonzie Novello, in the Fairmont, I'm buddies with him too. He was like, he saw us rolling up, and he said, "Is this the first one? Is this the first one?" I said, yeah. So he took some pictures of me watching him like staging and everything. And
cool.
Man, it was just awesome. It was so much fun. And even for his truck, it's a 16-second truck. It's all stock. Yep. We just did it to have fun. But I tell you what, Keith Turk, and he was the one that convinced us to go into the Bullseye Challenge. And that, like, I love that class. I don't know how many passes we made. Some days we made 4 or 5 passes, and it's just fun. Like it wasn't. I think there was a 16-year-old that actually won one day.
That's awesome.
I think I remember that.
And then another kid there too that we rolled with. Like we always roll with the Kurzaks, Jeff Kurzak and Allie and Nick. But there's a kid there named Wyatt, and it's like a 83 Buick Estate, 4,500 pounds or
yeah.
But he ended up winning one day too. He was running like 19s.
Yeah, that car was awesome, and I think it was slower than the Camaro he brought the year before, or something crazy. Like it was dreadfully slow.
I don't remember if it was like the Camaro was the slowest for the week, or if it was the wagon was the slowest for the week this year or last year. I don't remember, but either way, I loved it to see like the Kurzak kids, Wyatt, my son Carter, like they're just having fun. They're getting introduced to the sport, the hobby. It's helping out everyone. Like I just like my son is into it now, where he bought just a few months ago, he bought an 88 S10 roller. It's got a roll cage in it. It's got a quick performance 9-inch, Willwood rear disc brakes. He's already got an LS for it. We've already got a hot side for it. It's going to be, I'm hoping next year, because he's going to be a senior this next year. So hopefully we can get his truck going too.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
But yeah, that 25, the goal for us is to get the Fairmont going. It might not be perfect, but I want to get it going and do either drag week or 6 Smokies. So we'll see what happens with that. We're waiting on the 6 Smoky tracks to come out, and then decide which one. But the Northeast would be pretty cool to see. to do those tracks.
I've never been to Maryland International, which I think will be cool, but I'm kind of excited about Six Smokies. I think that'll be a great event.
I know, man. I wish I could do them all. So if anybody wants to sponsor me, I mean, that's cool. I'd take your money, but
Yeah, right. Yeah, please.
yeah,
Please.
yeah,
Yeah, we need
just
more
need
sponsors in the thing.
Yeah, we need gas sponsors because that would help a lot of people out. Just gas getting across the country.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
love truck stops. Let's go.
Yeah.
Showers and gas, man. That's what we need.
yeah, yeah. Nope,
right.
that's it. But hey, thank you guys so much for what you do. I know I always tell you guys at each event I see you at, it's always good to see you, and thank you for what you're doing for the sport and the hobby. I think it's awesome. Especially like at PRI, what you're talking about too, just to see how it's changed. Like it's becoming more and more popular. I mean, even to get, some of the big names out there like Jay Grabiak. I mean, he's a pretty big street outlaw guy. So to have him there.
He's famous. I didn't get his signature last time, but next time I see him, it's going right here over my heart.
It's tough. It's tough to get because usually there's a pretty big line for the autograph session that he sets up at PRI especially. So it's tough to get it.
Well, and sometimes he's charging, which I don't have money like that, but it's $5 each, man. It's
And maybe we can pay to have him at our booth next year signing
There you
autographs.
man, that'd be great. That'd be great.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, Kevin. Thanks for coming on, dude. Appreciate it. Happy New Year. We'll see you soon.
Yeah,
thanks.
same to you guys. Happy New Year, everything. Thank you again for having me on. I appreciate it, man. We'll see you guys
later.
See it.
All right, man. Let's bring on Mr. Danny Gruba. Listen, dude, you're one of my favorite people in all of Drag and Drive. I really appreciate all the fun times we've had together. Hang on, I'm trying to work the thing here so we can get you big on the screen. There we go. Dude, you've got some of the best stories. You've got some of the hardest stuff coming across the country. You're everything you do, you drive from SoCal out to Sick Week to Sick Summer. I mean, just Drag Week. I know you go to a ton of stuff. So tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you've driven most recently.
My name is Danny. I am from Crestline, California, and most recently on 666, I took my 2016 wet truck with a liftgate and toolbox.
Well, and you did that because one of the cars wasn't ready. But I think most people will probably know you from your time in the Gucci AMC Eagle. No, not Eagle.
It's a Hornet Sportabout.
Hornet Sportabout. Yeah. Yeah,
and it's the rare Gucci edition.
Right, and so you and Alex Brody were driving it, dude. That's one of the stories I want you to tell. Give us the lowdown on the engine swap in Louisiana or whatever, Texas or whatever.
All right, so I picked up the car off of Craigslist January of 23 and bought it. Had a buddy store it for me in Iowa, and I went out and grabbed it in September of 23. And it had been parked for at least 5 years. Got it running, took it to Duct Tape Drags in Tucson with David Freiberger's event, and then 3 weeks later took it on Death Week. Original engine, 258 inline six-cylinder, everything original. Drum brakes all the way around, power drums, but drum brakes all the way around.
Oh my gosh.
Power steering. And then decided, well, I might as well take it on Sick Week. Because I originally had another co-pilot. I was going to have two co-pilots for Sick Week. So that's why I was like, I'll take the wagon. I have room for an extra person. His luggage, all my stuff. Cool, no problem. Well, at the last minute, he backed out, but I already had the wagon in, so I figured I'll just take it anyway. So we leave California. Well, I get to Alex's house, and we go to leave, and there's a puddle of oil on the ground. Like, it's just whatever. It's no big deal. Then we go, stop. Hold on, let me close the door. The dog's going crazy. So we swap, make it 15 miles, and we already had to do our first unload of the car because I had too much weight for the stock springs, and it was bottoming out.
Oh, geez.
So we stopped in a AutoZone parking lot in Rancho. Unloaded most of the car. I've got overload helper springs from AutoZone, $30. Threw those on. Now the car is raised like 3 inches, all the stuff in the back. Cool. Good to go. Then I discovered we had an oil leak. It was still there. I thought it was just a fluke. No, it's still there. So every 200 miles when I got fuel, we put 2 quarts of oil in the car.
Oh my gosh.
So we make it all the way to my dad's house in Texas. We then do stuff with him, add more oil, get more fuel. I'm in Texas, so I'm 1,700 miles in the drive, and I'm up to 17 quarts of oil.
Oh, man.
Dude.
So finally we look at it, and we figure out that it's the oil sender.
Mm.
And it's just pouring like a steady drip out the side of it. So, okay, so the whole underside of my car, right side, is all coated in oil. The back window is covered in oil. You can basically write your name in the back glass.
Yeah.
We fixed that. Well, apparently where that oil sender is close enough to the main bearing that apparently caused a oil starvation issue in the motor, unbeknownst to me. So we leave Texas, we're 90 miles into Louisiana on I-10 and start hearing something, and the next thing I know, it throws a rod.
Oh.
So now we're sitting on the side of I-10, and it's Friday at noon. We're supposed to be in Orlando by Sunday. So now I'm debating on, do we get a rental? What do I do? Buddy of mine in Texas, I sold him my car the year before when I went to pick up the Gucci. I sold him my other AMC.
Mm-hmm.
So I messaged him. He pulled that motor out, had it waiting for me. So I AAA'd from Louisiana back to his place. We get there at 7 o'clock Friday night. By midnight, the engine and trans are out of the car. I can't pull the cross member out because it's mangled from who knows when. So we have to deal with that. By 4 a.m, the motor's attached to the donor engine, which is a smaller displacement. Now it's 232 instead of 258. It's all put together, ready to go in the car. So we finally go to bed, wake up at 8, and now I'm having to deal with the accessory drive is the opposite. Everything was on the driver's side, now it's passenger side. Power steering pump would have been on the passenger side, couldn't do that, so I delete the power steering pump, now I gotta delete the steering box. So I'm hoping I can get the box off the 77 wagon, and swap it over on the Gucci, and get rid of that one and deal with all the rest and stuff. Then the alternator wire is too short, and it's a Saturday afternoon. No one's around. I don't have a car. I don't have a rental. Going in favors, O'Reilly's comes and delivers parts to us.
Nice.
Because my buddy had connections with that store and they know him, so he had them drive down. They were understaffed that day. Brought down the fire in there, brought down the butt splices. By 2 p.m, the car's running.
Oh my gosh.
And we did the math the night before. Like, we have to be on the road by 7 o'clock Saturday night. That is because we still have 1,000 miles. We backtrack 150 miles to the shop. So we have to be on the road. We have 1,000 miles to get to drive. So we fix the exhaust, cobble the exhaust back together because no one has a welder. So we're like, the clamp stuff together, pipes don't fit. Nothing is lining up right. Meanwhile, we put transfer back in it, get it running, burp the coolant, drive it around, test it, and then we will clean up the shop in the aftermath of the transmission disaster, all the ATF on the ground. Meanwhile, Alex looking at me like, what did I sign up for? I'm like, welcome.
Why did I do this?
And the first one that he did was Death Week. And that was a cakewalk for him, 2,000 miles in his Charger.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, I'll go with you. Now he's contemplating why he went.
So, as much as a flight home. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I'm keeping his dad posting, the whole family posted, because this is the first time he's done anything like this with anybody else besides his dad. So keeping all of them updated. We get on the road finally. We get back to the same gas station where I stopped at before the engine let go. And when we went there the first time, we got one of the alligator heads. And we threw it on the roof rack and we named it Steve.
Nice.
Well, shortly after we put that on the roof is when the engine blew up. So then everything became Steve's fault. So we cannonball. I drove all night. I let Alex sleep. I had never been so happy to see a sunrise in my life. I was about 2 hours from Tallahassee, I believe, when the sun came up. And then I started hearing, all night, I'm hearing something like scrape every overpass, like every once in a while. I'm like, that's odd. So we finally stopped about 8:30. It's the exhaust pipe, completely hanging on the ground. Only held up by the rear hanger and the manifold.
Nice. So it's like the clamps are like they're doing all they can to keep it together. Yeah.
Yep. And our expando pipe joint
Oh, yeah.
is all mangled. So we grabbed the baling wire and we baling wire this thing up enough to get us to the track.
Yeah.
We ended up pulling into the track at noon.
Oh my gosh.
And the line for tech closed at 1. And meanwhile, we hadn't showered in 3 days. We're covering ATF. Like, we look like we've been through the ringer. And everybody wants to give us high fives. I'm like, I just want to know where's the line for tech? Where do I park?
We're going to drive right into that. Yeah.
After that, I'm here. Let me get to the line now.
Yeah.
And then we can talk. So that was the start of our event. People asked me, what did I delete to go faster? I deleted everything. Power steering, air conditioning, cubic inches, all the deletes.
Yeah.
And at that point, the goal was just to have the car just run to get home, because now I'm in Florida and I'm 3,000 miles from home in a 51-year-old car with an engine that hadn't ran for 2 years, and I just now put 1,000 miles on.
Yeah. Roadside engine swap there.
Oh, and the linkage didn't work either. I had to cobble linkage together. And the oil pressure gauge, we zip tied to the wiper cowl outside the car.
Yeah.
Oil line was only like a foot long.
Yeah.
And there was no lights on it. So every once in a while I was trying to flashlight driving at night to see if the oil pressure was still good. And it 50 PSI the whole way.
Wow. So you do the week. What did the car run, and then did it make it back home, and what's the plan?
So my goal for the week was 19 seconds. So the first day I ran a 20.3 first pass. Well, then Jacob Davis in his AMC powered AMC ripped the rear end out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, if they don't fix the car, there's a chance if I finish the week, I'm the only other AMC powered AMC. I could be the fastest AMC at sick week. So I went out again because he took a 20 when he broke.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran a 19.4.
Yeah.
So now, for a brief 10 cars, I was the fastest AMC powered AMC. Then we came out in 11 or 12. So I started with a 19.4. My goal was 19s. 19.4 was already taken on day one. So then my next goal was 70 miles an hour. I want to say it was Gainesville. I ran 70.5. So then the next goal was 18s. And Friday, last pass, 18.98 at 71.
Nice.
Nice.
I finally rewatched the feed about 6 months ago on Freedom Plus, and I could hear Derek's excitement calling my 18.9 pass. And
I think that's what's one of the most fun things about Dragon Drive is truly, like everybody's excited for everybody, and everybody was excited for you to get that 18.
yes. And I think Alex's dad's one of his favorite comments that Derek made throughout the week was, "Yep, there goes Danny. Yep, nope, folks, he's not broke. That's just how slow it goes. He's not broke."
That's awesome.
We had a blast. On day 4, we were the first ones to go. So then we went out and we sightseeing and we did all the touristy stuff and we stopped everywhere. Thursday night, we went and played mini golf because we were rooming with Tim and Jacob Davis. Well, he ran in C group, so he didn't go to like the last group at South Georgia.
Yeah.
And they have the rooms. So I had to wait until he got to the hotel. So we had time to kill. So we went to Buc-ee's in Daytona, went by the Speedway, got pictures there, went to Daytona Beach, got pictures by the sign. Alex found mini golf. So we played Galen mini golf for like 2 hours. and just had a blast with it. And then Friday, since we didn't start till late and we were last to go, we went to Disney Springs.
Nice.
Got some Disney Springs, Disney World Mickey hats with the ears, and we got Sick Week on the back end.
That is too cool. Well, what events you got planned for the early part of 25?
So I'm in for Sick Week. So the goal is to leave here in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm taking the Ute. The Charger Ute's going to go. That seems to be all reliable at this point.
Right.
It's got 234,000 miles on it, but
Nice.
she'll make it. So I got Sick Week planned, and then Six Smokies is the other one I got planned.
Nice. Have you ever thought about like stationing a car over on the southeast side of the United States and then just fly into it?
I thought about it.
That's not nearly as much fun though, is it?
No, it's more fun to start your adventures in California and drive all the way across country. That way I can see my dad and my brother in Texas and any other friends along the way.
That's
and then
awesome.
and then drive all the way back. So
Right.
round trip, by the time I get home, it's typically about 7,000 miles.
Jeez. Man, that's so cool. That is so cool. And
The only
especially,
one the only one that does more, I think, is Giga. He goes like
Yeah.
8,500 or something.
man, that trip to Sick Week is definitely a long one for folks that live on different parts of the coast. Well, Danny, listen, I want to say thanks for coming on tonight. Appreciate your patience while we work through the Jay and then Kevin and let you, man. Thanks, dude. It's been awesome.
No problem. Happy New Year, guys.
Hey,
Yep,
happy New
thank
Year, man. We'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good.
All right, real quick, while we get just a break here, real quick, I do want to thank everybody, thank our race car friends, thank our sponsors, run through that real quick, and then we're going to bring on Mr. Carl Stansel, promoter for the Drop the Hammer events. So thank you to Summit, thank you to Molly, thank you to Driven, thank you Car Chains, WAF Racing, Performer Built, J-Wire, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, Power Tube, and Racy Junk. Couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much. And of course, our race car friends. You guys are amazing. We know that. Hit the share button for us. We're going to bring him on right now. If you guys don't know, Carl's one of our favorite folks from all of Drag and Drive. He hosts an event called Drop the Hammer, and they're expanding this year. And longtime Drag and Drive racer, longtime Drag and Drive person. And dude, introduce yourself. Tell everybody where you're from, what you drive, and they'll get into just some stories.
Yeah, Carl Stansel. Been doing Drag and Drive. I started my first one in 2014 with Drag Week, and then did the first year Rocky Mountain Race Week. Was out of it for a little while, and then came back in 21 and just beat the shit out of my truck the whole time since then. We've hit deer. We hit a deer in 21. Then we crashed into the wall in 22 at Sick Week. Blew the block apart, side of the block apart at Sick Week 23, changed the block and completed the week. This last year for Sick Week, it was, I wouldn't say uneventful, but nothing catastrophic. So that was good. I'd take that any day.
It probably felt weird for you.
Yeah, it did. It was kind of shocking that, we actually had the truck together like a month and a half before the event. And that never happens either. It's always like loading it into the trailer, bolting shit on still. So, but we had a good time. Some little issues. Boost tube blew off. Found a battery cable, negative battery cable was loose, causing some issues. Jay Blanchard from J-Wire helped out with that. Helped figure that out. But we ran a best with a small little 5.3 of it 808, and we upped our weekly average. Our best weekly average was like an 887 from back at Rocky Mountain Race Week in 15. We dropped it down to 837 this year, so was pretty pleased with that. It's not a race car. It is a race car, but it's not, it's not a fast car. But we had a good time with it. We had a good time. We're really pleased that we were able to do all that. So yeah.
Well, dude, let's get into some fun stuff. Tell us tell us one big story about 24 especially with Drop the Hammer.
Yeah, so we decided to put on Drop the Hammer. We weren't able to do it in 23 because of weather, so we were able to do it in the spring of 24. And, first event up in Michigan here, there's a lot of people wanting to see it. We had 54 cars show up, and just the support from everybody that was there and involved with it was awesome. It was really a good time. I believe everybody had a real good time during it. And we decided to come back for 25. And we've set it up to do actually 2 events.
So you're hosting the one in Michigan. What are the tracks there? And then where's the other one?
Tracks are going to be Mid-Michigan Motorplex, which we used in 24 for day 2. That's going to be our host track for day 1 and 3. And then we're going to Lapeer International for day 2.
That's awesome.
And then we're doing North Carolina in September, the weekend after Labor Day weekend. And we're doing Mooresville for the host track for day 1 and day 3, and then day 2 is going to be at Galat Motorsports Park.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one too. That's on Eric and I's short list. We haven't necessarily got our 25 schedule nailed down yet, but it's definitely on the list for sure. Tell us about the block swap, because that's a big undertaking. Did you just swap to a stock bottom end? Like, how did all that come about?
Yeah, no, I'd switched to aluminum block in 21 and hurt it the first year at Sick Week, and that's what caused me to put it in the wall in 22. So then in 23, we got another block. It was a used aluminum block, 5.3, and I think there were some issues with it that I didn't know about when I got it, because we made our second pass. We did a test pass on Sunday, and then Monday, our first pass on Monday, it blew the side of the water jacket right out. So I think, being up here in Michigan, it had frozen at one time. And once we start putting boost to it, it didn't like it. So it blew the whole side of the block right out.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So we started looking around on Marketplace, and we found a iron 5.3 block that was standard bore. We got a hold of a local shop that we could take the motor to, and he gave us free reign of a shop. I mean, we tore the motor apart, got this other block to us, and took all the internals out. I mean, we changed everything from my block to the new block. The first one didn't work. There were some issues with putting the crank in, so he ended up having a second block. This guy at this engine shop, shop, and so we ended up buying that block from him. And he's like, "Dudes, I got to go home. Just lock the place up when you leave." And we left out of there. I think it was like 1:00 in the morning. We left that shop to head back and drop the motor in. And we got it running. I think it was like 6:37 had the truck running. And there wasn't a soul in sight. There was just me and my co-pilot, Chris.
Yeah.
And so by the time we got cleaned up and everything packed back up, it was like 9:00 in the morning on Tuesday, and we had to head to Bradenton. So we rolled into Bradenton with 15 minutes for the lanes to close.
Oh my gosh, dude!
And
did you swap in the lanes?
We literally drove right to the lanes. Yep.
Wow.
We drove right up to the lanes, unhooked the trailer, changed the tires real quick, and suited up and got in line. Fortunately, we got lucky because they had an oil down, so it took them about 20 minutes to get that cleaned up. So we were able to make a pass and keep on for the week, and we finished out the week. We had an issue. When we put the motor back in, we had pinched one of the spark plug wires. So we were running on 7 cylinders, so it didn't run real good. And going down the road, you didn't notice it because there was no load on it. But once we put the load on it, it said, "Yeah, it ain't happening, buddy." So we did that for 2 days, could just beat our heads against the wall, and then we finally found it before we went to Gainesville. And Gainesville is where I crashed the year before. So
Yeah, you
We
got
went out and clicked off an 837 A to B. We said, "Oh, we're done. We beat you. You ain't beating us this year."
Wow, man, that's cool, dude. So, what's your plans for 25? Event wise, like, what are you attending? What are you racing?
So we're motors apart right now for the truck is going back together, and we're going to be at Sick Week again.
Nice.
Competing in a class that I have no business being in, but that's where we're at. It's all fun.
Yeah.
You know, just out there to have a good time. And that is probably going to be, I can't say that's all the events, but right now that's all that's on the radar because there's so much work on putting,
Oh yeah.
one race on, let alone two. So
Yeah.
I got to kind of spread myself out a little thinner on the racing this year till I get things lined up better for the drop the hammer races.
Yeah. I can certainly understand that. Well,
yeah. So other than that,
sorry, I think I'm a little bit delayed. I can't wait to see it Sick Week, dude. Couple weeks, man. I can't believe we're that close.
Yeah, it's getting close. We're gonna leave in 4 weeks.
Oh. That's too quick, man. That's too quick.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's starting in Georgia.
That'll be a little closer for you.
Less of a drive.
Right.
Right. And less of a drive once you get done. That's the other side of it, too,
for
right?
sure.
Like that'll save you 300 miles on your trip home.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, tell everybody where they can find Drop the Hammer, and then we'll kick you out.
Drop the Hammer on Facebook. Just Drop the Hammer 2025, and then Drop the Hammer North Carolina edition 2025 event pages, and then there's the Drop the Hammer group if you want to get jump on there and watch all the updates and everything and see how things are going.
That's awesome, man. Hey, thanks so much. You don't have to go anywhere.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome to hang out backstage, and I think maybe at the end we bring on like 10 people at one time or something like that. Who knows?
Okay. No, I appreciate all you guys do.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we appreciate you guys. All right, let's bring on Mr. Matt Blasco because he's been sending me photos backstage. This jerk. He's intending to bring a new car. So introduce yourself, where you're from, and while I bring up those other photos, tell us what's going on, man.
I'm from Alberta, Canada. I live just a few hours south of Rich. I actually met Rich Guido in 2015 when we did Drag Week, and Montana Dan Nissen way back when, and been doing drag and drive since then. I'm actually just out in BC right now sledding at the moment, and took a moment to come in on the podcast, but then I got to get back and work on my car before Rich Guido gets after me even more for being out here not working on my car. But I did work on it right before I left to make sure it's trying to figure out the problem that I was having, but I do have it fixed now, so, or at least have a good idea. I sent a bunch of pictures when Rich and I actually went to Todd Goodwin's shop and we're doing the motor. We did spent right before and after PRI. That was, I think, 2019 or 20. Yeah, Rich. I was actually tuning a snowmobile today and clutching it, so that was the thing. But yeah, I just did a bit with the sledding today, but I was running. It's strapped to my dyno right now. I did find the little problem I was having on it. One of my actual sensors, I don't know if it's wired wrong or shorted wrong, but the little bit of a shortcoming that I have with my ECU is it's an M-Tron, which is good, but what it'll do is it'll automatically rescale all your sensors. So if you have a 5 volt that's shorted out and it's only showing a 1.5 volt, it'll rescale all your sensors to a 1.5 volt. So if you ever have a sensor failure, it'll automatically fix itself so you can still run. But in the end, I was looking at the scope of my crank and I'm like, why is it only showing a 1.5 volt? And yeah, I found my problem because I've been running on the dyno, but then it just spark scatters and it's never had that problem. But I had a friend help me with the wiring and he must have switched a couple pins around, but yeah, well, that's been my bane of my
This-
existence, or boon is what are they?
right? This thing looks wild.
Yeah.
I love it. It's one of the only cars you're going to see like this. I think we saw a Pro Mod. It's a Barracuda, right?
So that's a 71 CUDA. It's an actual steel roof and quarter car. Started its life as a 71 CUDA.
Wow.
I bought it off a friend of mine who had bought it off another guy in a divorce sale. He had ran it, but it was just kind of too much maintenance type car for him. And he said, well, Matt, you should have a car like this because my Dart, it's just a little too much engine for my Dart. I'm doing a twin turbo Gen 3 Hemi for that, but it's just too heavy. So this car is about 700 pounds lighter. No, 700 pounds lighter than my Dart was. So it's the same drivetrain for now. I actually have a different transmission set up for it and converter drive set up. But for now, I'm just going to run my Rossler in it for the moment. And Rich Guido is going to be my trunk monkey for once. Actually, twice. Him and I, we put this motor back in my Dart and ran the Canadian Dragon Drive and won the Canadian Dragon Drive with it, just playing around with it. But the motor makes really good power. It makes 3,200 horse on 20 pounds of boost. It's 652 inches. It's pretty much Doc's engine with pair of 102s on it. And then we turn it up past that, it makes even more.
Bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so I was running it on full C16. I swapped it over to methanol and got rid of the intercooler. So I run a primary set of thousands to drive on, then a set of AFIS 800s that stage in to go over to methanol. And then when you let off, it goes right back to gasoline. So I don't really have to do this big change. All I do is throw the mechanical belt drive belt on when I'm racing. When I'm done, I just pop it off, zip tie it around the alternator and drive. So I don't have to do kind of a big transform change on the car. The other thing that I've done with it is like I run a lot of OEM parts. I run a BMW X3 water pump. I run a brushless Dorman fan on it, universal aluminum rad. Like I don't try and run anything that's out of, like I need stuff that I can buy anywhere because I want the thing to be ultra reliable, drive everywhere. I run a normal Delco like LS truck alternator, probably the most common alternator ever, which is good. They actually have a one-way clutch on these, so if you ever have to pedal them, they'll automatically freewheel when you get off and on them, so it won't chuck the alternator belt like you're used to. So
interesting. And so,
Yeah.
so you and I were talking at one of the like the 16-bit arcade or whatever it was called at PRI,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have you on the show because I want to go really deep dive into all your nerdy stuff because I love that kind of that thought process. And
yeah, we can go into
man.
a lot of this stuff even farther. I've been
Right.
doing drag and drive with Rich and others and for 10 years now. And, I see there's a lot of cool things that people do, and it doesn't matter what class they're in or which car it is. I always look at a car and I'm like, wow, that's a great idea. And I always see everybody has these little ideas. And the problem is everybody tries to keep them secret. But like example, I have just Cadillac ride height sensors. They have more resolution than those aftermarket sensors that they have that cost 10 times the money. Like most of those Cadillac ride height sensors are $20-$30. When you look at this car, it just has those because they're made to actually drive and be in the wet and be in the crap and not wear out. So it's just because it's looks like a big dollar race car doesn't mean that it can't have parts that last forever.
Well, and again, like you and I were talking, I mean, the biggest thing with stuff, it's just like everybody else has said on here. You got to have parts that are easy to get. You got to have parts that you can buy anywhere or can be fabricated easily. So that's what I think is going to be the most fun about seeing this car in person.
Yeah, it's like I've driven it already a bit, but I actually haven't had it at the track. So, Rich, actually, I was sitting with Dave Schroeder at PRI, and he sat down and had a real heart-to-heart with me because him and we actually won Drag Week in 2017. Both that year, we won both our classes and spent a bunch of time together. And I've helped them out with some stuff on their program, sensors and just, a little bit of insight on, different electronics and such with them. So Dave and John are the greatest guys you'll ever meet. And Dave took me off to the side and sat me down. He's like, you come a week early. Don't just come a few days. You come a week early. We have a bunch of track rentals, and we're going to get this car sorted out because it has to do at least a 103, 105, 60 foot. Like if it did a 110, yeah, but I don't want to throw a bunch of mile an hour. Like it's the faster you go over, say 220, 230, 240, like it just becomes more unsafe. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to try and get the 60 sorted out if I can. It'd be nice to run a well in the 6-second average to start out. I built the car to, try and run really fast. I don't know what it's going to run yet, but, it should do solid mid-low sixes, no problem. I got to get the 60 foots figured out and then start really throwing a lot of power at it and start figuring out the 60s. So yeah, Rich. And then I went sledding. So hey, look, there's my sledding gear by the fireplace drying out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, when do you guys leave for Florida?
I think let me look. I think it's Rich and I were talking. I think it's we're going to leave the 17th, I think, and then try and get down to Florida around the 20th because it's a 3-4 day drive for us down there, and then we'll spend that week testing before. So, Rich, I told Rich to come on here, but he just said, I'm going to sit here and be the peanut gallery, just like I do with Rovic and those guys.
Rich is welcome to come on. If he wants to, hey, Rich, send me a message. I'll send you the link. Do you know where you guys are testing? So I'll be down for that week before with all the Pro Mod guys for the DI for the Drag Illustrated.
I'll let you know. I know there's like a Mickey Thompson test and like a test session and a few different ones that are going on. The one thing that I hope Tom does is for the big tire class is just run every class, like after the D class, all the cars that have, marginal tires, such like that aren't really nice to the track. Don't touch the track, just leave it alone and then let us run. So then there's actually some slip in the track. So I'm thinking of like, can I get like a water sprayer to get some tire speed or something? Like have somebody can I get somebody to oil the track in front of me? Like,
right. I need a little bit, man. I think that's what's really kind of interesting about the sick week stuff is really like we see a lot of.
I've never seen somebody prep for like before they run like that Snot Rocket. That's an amazing freaking car watching it, but they prep the track and make sure it's perfect for them because on a little set of tires like that, it has to be perfect. But it's like every time it goes up, like they really work on the track, which is good for him. But I hope they don't work on the track for me. That's the last thing that I want. I just want it because their unprepped track is better than any of our prep tracks ever are in Canada or kind of the northern stuff. It's just meant to be that way. So I was thinking I'm probably going to parallel 4-link, put no bite in my car and try and see if I can get some tire speed. I think that's going to be the fight. You look at Goldstone, he's able to get down the track and it's impressive, watching him fight the track because that car's really fast, but he's got it sort of figured out where that thing will get out. It can go a lot faster, I think, but he's been able to get down the track. So the problem is like Dave's car at 60 so hard, that thing 0.9 60 foots. And that's, I think, the only drag and drive car that does that fast of a 60 foot is Dave Shorter's car. So like, I know, I don't know. I think they're low ones, mid ones, Devin and those guys. So the other thing is Devin bet me $100 that I won't show up. So I'm gonna.
They're like, come on, hurry up, quit, you famous person.
So, it's at the sorry, my buddy's trying to be a jackass in the background.
That's all right.
They're all sitting here, they're laughing, they're like, oh, we're gonna bug you. So I don't know, I'm just a sucker for it. So
well, that's okay. So what's the bet for between you and Devin?
So Devin bet me $100 that I wouldn't show up, and then he wants to run me off the trailer. So we'll see. I don't know if I really want to do that yet because he's really good at it. he's got that car figured out, where I'm still test and tuning with this thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of a test and tune week. So I'll take his money to help pay for the gas money to drive down. And if we end up lining up, so be it. I know he's going to shit talk me whether I win or lose. So at the end of the day, when it comes to those guys, those radial cars, I'd like him to come up to the other drag and drives, or even run some of these for the marginal prep, where it's more of a big tire event. The reason I went big tires is because most of the tracks I race, it is big tires. So, oh, hey, look, here's Chris Oler. Hey, Chris, you want to say hi? He's a drag and driver. Him and his daughter, he's got the Beaumont.
Yeah.
So, and there's his daughter.
Team Fam Jam right here, boys.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, yeah, we're just out here. He's my emotional support for sledding. He helps unstuck my ass when I do stupid stuff.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to let you get to it. Thank you so much for coming on, dude. Thank you for taking the time away from having fun like that.
Yeah, no problem. I'll come on again and we'll go through more through the car. But we're going to be at Sick Week. I'm just going to figure out my little problem here, make sure it makes the power like it should on the dyno, and then start playing with bars and the suspension, and hopefully get it down the track and see what it's capable of. Start giving some guys a little bit of nudge. I know Tom's been bugging me quite a bit too, so he says my car's AI, so we'll see. AI's getting pretty good, so maybe he won't believe his eyes if it actually shows up.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to hang out, dude. It's gonna be cool. I'm a big fan of yours, so it's gonna be a good time.
Okay, see ya. Have a good one. Thanks, guys.
See ya. Thanks. How fun. All right, so I'm going to sneak outside real quick. Let's bring on Bill Spangler because he's been so nice and waiting. We're going to call him Mr. 10-0 because he's one of 2 people to ever run a perfect 10-0 in an SME class, in the SME class at Drag Week. So you guys talk about that. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from and what you drive.
Bill Spangler from Vermilion, Ohio. I have a 1984 Fairmont named Fub. Right now it has a big block Ford in it, and that's going to change. That's coming out, and we're going to put a Godzilla with a turbo. I'm going to go after the big block power adder class.
Oh, that should be fun.
Yeah. We've had enough fun at 10-0s and 970s or so, but let's go a little faster.
So what's the goal going to be with that combo?
Well, the cage is only legal for 850, so be to run 850s for the street race big block power adder.
There you go.
And then see if we can get into some of the 860 stuff that Tom and Sick the Mag's putting together.
Yep.
So there's some more stuff coming, so thought it was the right time to make that move.
Now you've already swapped, or you're getting ready to?
Getting ready to. Brian Wolf is the godfather of Godzilla, and I have parts on order from him. I have a new block on the shelf here. I'm waiting for pistons, rods, heads. So it's all coming. It's just going to take a minute.
When's the plan to debut that then?
It's too early to say right now. There's a race that I just found out about this week here in Ohio in October. So I'd like to try to make that. That's a 3-day deal.
Gotcha.
We'll see what else we can do, but that's right now. That's the goal, and hopefully sooner, but who knows?
What events did you do in 2024?
I didn't do any drag and drives in 24. I started a new job in September of 23, and been very busy with that. Been busy on some projects at home, and just not enough time.
Oh, I can understand that for sure.
And was trying to figure out where I wanted to go with all this, and with everything that's been coming around here recently, the 860 stuff and the other items, it makes me want to get a little more into it.
Yeah, for sure. Now we've had you on before, and you kind of went over how you got the nickname Bub. Do you wanna go over that again?
Well, there's a couple different versions. The PG is Fairmont Under Beautification. That came from Joe Fritz, my co-pilot. And then the actual one is for the car, because it's patina and needs some paint. It's fucking ugly bastard. But it's always funny. The announcers will read off the tech card that it's FUB. What's FUB stand for? And everybody starts questioning, and we're in the pits laughing.
Oh yeah.
People that know.
Well, did you guys talk about the setup in the car?
I talked about the current setup and the future setup.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because you sent me a little bit of that, but you've also been sending me some photos of some other stuff you've been working on too. So
Yes.
it sounds like there's some cool stuff going on around you.
Oh yeah. Buddy of mine from Loveland, Ohio, down by Cincinnati, has a '79 Camaro he bought new, and he's played with it on and off over the years. And it has set for, I don't know, 20 years, 15 years. I don't know what it's been a while. And he put a LS in it, 400 trans and 9-inch rear end, real nice combination. He brought it up to me, and I got to install turbos and plumb all that and wire it all.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Got it running. We were actually at his house yesterday in Loveland and going through, tweaking a few things and getting him a little closer to getting to the dyno.
Nice. So have you guys talked about 2025 plans yet?
Well, my plan right now is I'm trying to put this Godzilla combination together, and I don't know when I'm going to have all the parts.
Yeah.
There is that new race I just found out about in October up here in Ohio.
Mhm.
3-race deal, 3-track deal. That's my goal at this point.
Yeah.
With
Talking about,
things can come together
Buckeye
sooner and all
Skip,
the parts can happen, we'll do it sooner.
right? Buckeye Skips or something like that.
Yeah.
How do you say it? Is it Coonley or Coonel or?
Sure.
Yeah,
It's Old
right.
Thompson Dragway. Coonel, I think is how you say it. I'm not sure. It's a trucking company that bought the place.
Gotcha.
They've done a lot of improvements. I haven't been out there. It's about 2 hours from me.
Nice. That'll be weird for you, right?
Yeah.
For a drive to be that close.
Well, no. Midwest Drags in 21 when I did that. It started in Norwalk. It's 30 minutes from my house. So we just drove FUB there, towed the little trailer, and never used the big trailer.
That's awesome.
And then the next year it started in Edgewater, I think. We did trailer to that one.
Did it start in Edgewater? Yeah. Yeah, it did.
Next year I think it did.
Yep. And I think that's where we met. Maybe.
Yeah.
Midwest
It
22.
actually is.
Yeah. Feels like a lifetime ago, man.
It does. It does. We fed you a breakfast sandwich that day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff.
Jeff says Coonel is a cool track. I'm excited to see all the new stuff. You know, we posted up the map the other day. There's a ton of really neat things. So, what was your first event, and how long have you been in this?
My first event, I actually was signed up for Drag Week in 20 and Midwest Drags in 20, and we know where that went.
Yep.
So, and then Byron put on a race right after Drag Week, I think would have been, that went from Byron up to Eau Claire, Wisconsin, I think. So my son and I did that race. We ended up being number one qualifier at 10:02 or 3 average. And then
That's
the bracket
awesome.
race at the end of the week and screwed that up. Had a turbo car just smoked me on the big end.
Carson, how do you say that? Coonel or Coonley? Tell us in the comments.
And so that was the first one. Then the next year we went to Midwest Drags. That's the one started in Norwalk. and we won Street Machine Eliminator there. Then we went to Drag Week that year. Was #1 qualifier there for the week with a 10:02 or 3 average,
Mm-hmm.
and lost third round of the bracket race. That one still hurts. Then we ran
long you.
long. That's a good way to describe that.
Right. So, sorry to cut you there, but I just had a thought.
Okay.
So with SME stuff in the past and being so competitive in it, what class are you going to run the new setup? Is it going to be like street race big block or something?
Yeah, street race big block power adder.
That's awesome.
You know, Jay killed the small block portion of that class.
Well,
There's
that
quite a
class
few
is
guys that-
that's what I was going to say. That class is so competitive that
Yeah.
it really, for folks coming in, like that would be a hard class. But like Randy Bellahar is really he's a solid racer in street race big block power adder. But really, outside him, there's not just a ton of competition in that class. So I think that'll be a good one.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be a whole lot more since I'm coming in, so they'll come after me.
Yeah, right. They'll be like, "Oh, we're gonna race Bill. I'm in."
Yeah, let's go beat up on him.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Wow.
But it's always a good time, and
Yeah.
I've done it with my son. I've done a few with Joe, and then my buddy Jeff went to Sick Week with me the one year. So we always have a great time.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And
All right,
we won
sir.
Sick Week the first year, and
Yeah, you guys kicked ass at Sick Week.
dial your own.
Yeah.
And the pro dial your own.
What do you think about that? I love the dial your own stuff. I love the index stuff that Rocky Mountain has, but I really like the dial your own stuff. What do you think of it?
I like it because deep down I'm a bracket racer. So that's what we do in bracket racing is make our car very consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think it's why we do so well with it. And
Yeah.
it gives you a place to race because my car with the EFI setup on it and then the new heads, it now runs 970s, 980s, not 10.0s. And I could slow it down to 10.0s, but that's another dance you're doing. And so it's kind of cool to be able to not have an exact number you need to run to be in a class. You have to be under 999 for pro dial your own, and then 10.0 and slower for the other.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like it. I'm looking forward to the 850 cap on the street race class.
Yeah.
And, they always turn into an 850 class.
Yeah, whatever it's limited at, that's what they're turning into.
Yeah. Like this SME is can't go faster than 10.0, and everybody guns for 10.0s.
Right. Sorry, I'm sending Rovic a message now with the link to if he wants to jump in. I saw Chris drop the note there in the comments asking where he was at. So obviously he's got to be here if we can. This is a weird transition for Eric and I because we're not used to rolling through so many guests. So I want to say thanks to everybody that's had patience. We've got a big long list of folks that are backstage as well.
It's always good to watch you guys and listen to the podcast. And there's times when it's on and I can't watch it, but I'll just have the volume up so I can hear it.
Yeah, we've that's one of my goals for 2025 is to really lean into a lot more of the podcast side of stuff, and we may even do some exclusive podcast only stuff. Just to kind of I love podcasts. I love interviewing people. I love talking to folks. So we got to keep rolling with that. Bill, are we going to see you in 25? Maybe?
Hopefully late in the year. Yeah.
Perfect. I can't wait, dude. You guys, you and I message often, and
yeah.
My favorite drag and drive folks. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. And as you get farther on the swap, send us photos so we can kind of see how it's coming along.
We'll do, Eric.
Yep.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. See you soon.
All right. See you.
All right, let's bring on Mr. John Paul Franks, and then we're going to bring on Chris Cabe. I promise. John Paul, dude, tell us what's going on with you, man. Heads Up Hustle shirt, Heads Up Hustle 2025. You dropped dates the other day, dude. What's been going on, man?
We're just working hard trying to help Heads Up Hustle grow for 2025. We're excited. It's going to be July 25th through 27th. We'll start at Mile and Dragway again, and then run up to Mid Michigan Motorplex and back. They're the same 2 tracks from last year, but we had so much good feedback about those tracks. So we're just going to do them again.
I'm going to tell you,
same weekend,
Michigan,
so consistency.
Dude, Mid Michigan it's one of the most beautiful tracks I've ever been to. It was great. It was really a nice place.
Yeah, the Ledfords are really great to work with. They're awesome people and have a great track there.
Yeah, they let me go in there and talk on that microphone for 4 or 5 hours. It was great, dude. I loved it. It was a lot of fun.
You did great. I mean, you would never know that announcing wasn't like what you do professionally because you did such a good job.
Well, I tried for sure. It was great, man. My notepad had so many scribbles on it throughout the weekend. It was I'm thinking about maybe dragging the wife along with me and maybe the kids, and they can take notes of people's ET, because man, that was the hardest part, was trying to because on this side, Eric and I know it, we live in the Excel spreadsheets of people's submitted times, right? But there's no story there if you're in the middle of the event. I don't know what those people have submitted. So I'm trying to write stuff down. I'm doing math. Where does this put him? Can he take over the lead in this class with that Pat? So it was.
We just need to get Brian to make a new spreadsheet, the guy who does my stats, and hire someone to literally every run every car makes, even if they don't turn it in, log that. So we have we can know what's going on.
Yeah. It's almost like you need somebody with you the whole time, Mike.
Yeah, I know a guy. I know a guy that could do that. Well, dude, so you come out, you just freaking come down and you just ran house on the guys at the circuit 2024. Are you coming back 2025? And what's the plan there?
Yes. So 2024, the circuit was the first ever class win for a drag and drive for me, which is amazing. You put on a great event, and unfortunately, I guess fortunately and unfortunately, the motor we won that class with, we blew it up right before Heads Up Hustle. I was planning on having it at Heads Up Hustle, my car there. It's an 88 Fox body. For those who don't know, it's a natural aspirated small block car. But what happened was, I'm a novice carburetor tuner. I hadn't started tuning carburetors until 2021. So I'm learning. And we were driving on the street and we couldn't get it to lean up enough. And I put the smallest main jet that had in it. And I'm like, well, I'll change the high-speed air bleeds to something bigger for just the street driving. Then we'll switch them back for the racing. Well, we should have a 35,000, high-speed air bleed. Well, we put 65,000 high-speed air bleeds in for the drive. It helped the drive, and then we forgot to take them out. And because normally we don't change air bleeds at the track, I haven't done that very much. And we raced all of the circuit on 65,000 high-speed air bleeds. And the carburetor guys know that's really, really bad for your motor. It leans it out a lot. And I was wondering, where did I knew I had some horsepower. I was down power at the circuit. I'm like, where is this horsepower going? Where's that mile an hour? Well, that's where it was. So fortunately, the circuit had good air, and it wasn't crappy air that had, low, help make it lean even leaner. So at Streetcar Takeover Indianapolis in July, 2 weeks before Heads Up Hustle, I was running in the streetcar class there, and go to make a pass. It's 95 ambient, and the air is, thousands of foot DA, and go out, get about the 60 foot, and just see a flame in the cowl hood and big pop. We leaned it out so much. I had rejetted the car for the bad weather with the main jets, but with the high speed air bleeds being like that, basically leaned it out and blew head gasket on an NA car. Just no boost. We blew a head gasket because, well, I'm a new novice to carburetors, I guess. So learned my lesson. And then I didn't actually find out that's what happened until I put that carburetor on my new motor that we built for Drag Week, and we took it to the dyno, And the guy at the dyno was like, "What in the world is wrong with your high-speed air bleeds? Why do you have these giant high speeds in there?" So anyway, long story short, learned my lesson. Always, if you make a change, put it down in your book and then put it back for when you're actually going to go race. So
Dude, that's I don't know anything about I don't know anything about that stuff, but I can appreciate that you had to do that.
And then you had a pretty last minute rush to get it to Hot Rod Drag Week this year as well.
Oh, that was a lot of no sleep or low sleep nights. I think we got a couple hours a night for most of the nights leading up to drag week, and the night before we got, I think, 1 or 2 hours. Thomas let me sleep more, and well, I don't know if he didn't. I missed my alarm. I was too tired, missed my alarm, and he went out and started working on it, and because he was just crashing on the couch at our house. And Thomas Robbie's my co-driver, and he helps me run Heads Up Hustle. But anyway, he's a great dude. But we thrashed, and he had a big cut on his finger, and I dropped a trans on my finger, and we didn't cut the hole in the hood for the hood scoop until Sunday morning at I think it was 9:50 or 10 o'clock Sunday morning. We cut the hole in the hood scoop because we're not going to ruin the hood for the new carburetor and the new scoop if we're not going to make it to drag week. And we got the car started, and we're like, okay, we're cutting the hole. And so anyone who sees my car with the hood it's got on now, the reason the hole's so ugly is we rushed it, and we got in the trailer and got headed to drag week. And I called Jason Tapscott. I'm like, hey, Jason, what's the line look like? And he's like, well, I don't know. It looks like you might be able to roll in here. And he talked to Keith Turk for me and found out basically the rule is, so 1 o'clock's a cutoff. And if you don't make it in the line before 1 o'clock, you can't get in. At least that's the rule. But Keith's like, well, if no one protests you, I'm not down there monitoring it. We don't have anyone monitoring the end of the tech line. If no one protests you, as long as you're here before tech is closed, you can get in. So we roll in to Dragway, National Trail Dragway there for drag week at 1:10, and we're rushing to get the car out of the trailer, hook up the trailer, and get to the tech line. And I think we pulled in the tech line at 1:20 or something. And I was sweating. I'm like, we better make it in here. And we got in, and then I felt better when 5 or 10 of the cars got in the tech line behind me. So
yeah.
Nice.
But then, unfortunately, we didn't finish drag week, but we did run a personal best of an 871 at 157 miles an hour with the new small block NA motor. So,
yeah, and I don't have my sheets up, but it's one of the quickest NA small block passes in drag week history, right?
Jason Tapscott still does own that with an 860 something, I think.
Well,
or 850
that's what I'm
something.
saying, though.
Actually.
It's
But we're
one
close.
of the fastest. Yeah, I mean, dude, that, and especially being literally finish the car, literally pull in at 110, 120, and go out and get that on your day one pass. Pretty awesome, man.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the 871 was the third ever pass with that combination. So
wow.
That's wild.
We were like, we got to send it.
Yeah, right. Well, what's that mean for 2025?
So the plan is to bring the car to the circuit. And that's the only thing I'm planning on doing. We just had our third child back in the fall, and racing, running my own business for what I do for work, as well as running Heads Up Hustle. It's a lot of work, and I need to prioritize the family. So those moments of coming home and having a 1.5-year-old, 2-year-old run to you and say, "Daddy," and that's not going to be around forever, and that's what's mattered. That's the most important stuff, is being there for my family. So, so circuit's the plan, and maybe last minute we'll jump into some other drag and drive later. We'll see.
Well, the great thing about where you're at there too is there's several that have popped up. There's several that are coming this year, so that may make it easier to get over to one of those if you find time. But dude, everybody know. Well, I don't know if everybody knows, but listen, putting on a drag and drive is tough. It's real work.
It's a lot of work.
It's worse than racing, because you're there all day. You're the last one to leave, and you're the first one to get there in the mornings, and you don't get to see any of the route really. So.
Yeah, we just put the next place in the GPS and try to get there as fast as we can.
Yeah. Eric knows he was kind of our media guy for the Circuit 24, and I'd be like, man, go ahead and go, dude. We'll close this down, tear everything down, all that kind of stuff. Go ahead and go and get out and get some photos. And without him doing that,
I missed.
oh yeah, without him doing that, we wouldn't have had anything. So, well, dude, I can't wait. I think we've probably made this announcement before, but I'm coming back as the announcer for Heads Up Hustle 2025.
So excited to have you,
dude. Thank you for saying that, but I can't wait. I'm really excited about that one. I think it gives me an opportunity to, lean some more. Like we can look at who raced last year and kind of tell some extra stories and all that kind of stuff. So as we move into the 2025 season, you guys are going to be hearing a lot about the Heads Up Hustle and all the stuff that comes along with it, because John Paul's awesome, and Dragon drives are cool, man.
Well, thank you so much. If you're interested in a weekend Heads Up Dragon Drive, mark your calendars, February 22nd, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Registration goes live. And headsuphustle.com is where to find us, as well as Facebook and Instagram.
Yep. You're awesome, dude. Thank you very much, man. We'll see you soon. I'm sure you and I are going to talk sometime in the next couple of days.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Eric. Have a great night.
Yep.
All right, see you, buddy. Awesome, man. I really like that dude a whole bunch. All right, let's bring on Mr. Chris Cave, Mr. Race Car Revolution. Man, sorry it's taken us a minute to get here. I appreciate your patience. This is I thought we would probably roll through people faster, but dude, everybody's got good stories, man.
Exactly. These people are the legends of this stuff. I mean, these are the people. What's sad is I'm sitting here watching this. I'm like, oh, I remember when I was on Drag Week 21 and Carl Stansel was in the tech line, in the wait line, the not registered list, building his car, putting it to that Blazer together. I was like,
so
oh,
cool.
I'm like, oh, I know that guy, and putting faces to names. I'm like, oh, so no, it's cool. I'm glad to be a part of this. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
I was doing it, man. I'm probably the slowest guy on here that's won something. I don't know.
Well, and it wasn't DYO. What do they call it at OGG?
It's Street Eliminator in One Guy's Garage. Yep.
Yeah, I love that event. Eric went to a day, I think, in 2023. One of our plans. I mean, to be honest, that's really the goal event for Eric's Mustang. We'd love to debut that Dragon Drive Mustang at One Guy's Garage.
Let's really hope they bring it back. That event is the first one I ever went to as a photographer. They took me along and they said that we need some extra help. Can you come take photos? Can you come just do it? And at the time I did 4 drag radar races up in Fargo back in the day. Well, what year was that? I'm looking at the posters here. I don't even know if there's dates on them. It's been a while. It's been 3 kids ago. So
been a minute.
It's been a minute, and twins don't make your memory any better. I'll tell you that.
Dude, I can't imagine. 2 kids is 5 times harder than 1. I can't imagine twins.
Yeah, twins at 40 was not in the books, but I wouldn't change it for the world. They're amazing kids. They're their own beings, and
that's awesome.
They're their own personalities. No, so I went to One Guy's Garage, did photos. I guess you asked what the criteria of what I've done before is. I tried to go 20 for Drag Week, was the first one. Thank you, Josh Norris, for getting me hooked on this.
Yeah.
But of course that didn't work out like everyone said. And so I came back in 21. I really like Drag Week for the nostalgia and for what it is.
Yeah.
But for a slow guy like me in a stock 94 F-150 Lightning that runs 15 3s and 15 4s, it's not that exciting. You're doing a lot of waiting. And it drags. It's an awesome event. I would love to go back and do it once I get a different car, get something different. But the classes, unless you're an all-out guy that's going all out, it's not that fun. The local events is where it's at. I hate to say it, Six Summer and the One Guy's Garage, where they have the dial your own classes and the stuff where you can get in where you fit in type stuff.
Well, and I think that's what's a lot of fun about the DYO setup is that you're literally, I always say 1230 bracket cars can get in somewhere. Without a DYO setup, you really don't have, I mean, that guy's got to either turn it way up or turn it way down to make it work.
Yep. And I met some amazing people this last time on One Guy's Garage. Joe Hanjay, the F Cancer Nova guy, awesome dude.
Yeah.
And then I met a couple other people that I met from back there, and it was just cool. Us hanging out with people, learning new things. And I will admit, Joe should have won. Joe should have wiped the floor with us. But when you have a motor mount that's being held on by a 2x4 and some zip ties, car's not very consistent. So
Yeah, that makes it a little tougher.
But
That
no.
makes it a little tougher for sure.
Yeah, the smaller group of people with one guy's garage makes it nice to be able to get to know everybody a lot easier than some of the bigger events for sure.
It also makes it family. As much as I did like the second one they ever did, and then I did this last one, and I fell right back in. It was like I never left. Some of the same people were there, but there was a lot of new people, and got to meet some new people and some really cool trucks and some. As much as I'm a Ford guy through and through, Turbo LS stuff is Turbo LS stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's everywhere and it makes power.
Yep. If it works, it's great. I think what we're seeing is like Turbo LS stuff is it's letting people enjoy their cars while they're building their dream motors.
Yeah.
No,
that's cool. No, I get it. I've got the anti-LS coalition sticker on my daily driver, so it's a Crown Vic. So
yeah, there you go. I knew I liked you.
So in other words, you're not a fan of my twin turbo LS Fox body.
I can think of better options in my opinion, but you do what you got to do, and I get it. Believe me, I look at how cheap it is to do those swaps, and how if you really want to do it, I'll caveat the fact that please, if you're going to do it, put an engine diaper on it or some kind of containment system on it, please.
Oh yeah. I'm telling you, once the Ford stuff becomes more available in junkyards and the prices come down, there'll be a lot more common too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be against it. Obviously, I love my LS, but if that stuff was available, I'd be interested in playing around with one just to see, because you see how much power they make stock. It's crazy, and how far you can take them.
Yep. No, so my truck I've owned since '99. It's the first vehicle I ever took a loan out on, and it'll probably never ever leave the family. The kids have nicknamed it the stinky truck. So because it doesn't have catalytic converters on it. I didn't say that. But.
What? No, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, no.
That picture of Sam's is cool because that's not there. It won't be there much.
It won't be there. So the story behind that is I went to Drag Week 21. They were closed that day only. They were open all of the days on either side. We missed them coming in because we had some issues, and they were closed that day because of staffing issues, so we couldn't go. And my buddies were like, "Oh, we got to go get to Sam's and go get some ice cream and blah blah blah." I'm like, "Oh," and then I've been there like 3 times, and every time it was closed. And then this time I finally got there, and it was like really closed, like abandoned. So I'm like, "Well, before it's gone, I need to get a picture of it."
They auctioned off the car. The car is now down and gone. So anybody that's
glad I got the picture then.
Yeah, anybody that's not from around here, that is actually owned by a former Philadelphia Eagles football player that's local to Byron. So he bought it. I'm not sure what they're doing with it, but I know the car is down. It was auctioned away, and it got actually the building and that was damaged during one of the storms here. So I'm pretty sure the whole building is going to get taken down.
I'm sure, yeah.
Wow.
So Mark,
what a cool story.
Can you go back to that other picture, the one with the floor mat? So this is the absolute hilarious thing. If you notice where that floor mat is, that's wedged underneath my gas pedal.
Yeah.
Because when we got to Tri-State that morning, and if anyone's ever been to Tri-State, it is at the maximum downhill allowance, I'm pretty sure, of allowable track downhill. And that track is fast. And I could not slow that truck down. Tailgate up, mirrors out. I was about ready to throw the tonneau cover on it. And I happened to think the very first time I went to the track at Brainerd, I couldn't understand why the truck ran so slow. And my buddy walked over to me. He goes, "Hey, dummy, your floor mat's stuck underneath your gas pedal." As soon as I took it off, it went and ran the number it was supposed to run. I'm like sitting there trying to figure out how to slow this thing down. And that's how I actually ran my number the very last pass, was with the floor mat wedged underneath the gas pedal.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome. Well, One Guy's Garage is really one of the first events I've seen do this. And you start, like, you unload at Tri-State, excuse me.
Yep.
And then, but you don't race at Tri-State day one, you drive somewhere else.
Correct. You go Tri-State, and then we went to Great Lakes over in Wisconsin there.
Mm-hmm.
Raced Friday night at Great Lakes. Spent the night in Great Lakes. By the way, shout out to the Kurzak family and the Brat Stop. If you're ever at Great Lakes, go stop at the Broad Stop. It's the place to go.
Yeah, he just commented as you said that.
Yep, there he is. So we spend the night there, and then we get up that morning, and then we drove to Byron, and then we raced Byron during the day, and then we drove halfway back to Tri-State. Oh yeah, Jeff knows. Yeah. Jeff knows the spots. But no, it's super awesome group. And then you get to they again, family. They have a big, huge taco bar that night at the parking lot, have a big parking lot party. There may or not have been a few unintended accelerations with smoke coming off tires. So no, it was good. It's a good time. You hang out, you talk, and then the next morning you get up early and you drive, I think it was like an hour and 15 minutes to Tri-State, and you ran it out there, and you're done by 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I think awards were like at 2 or 3. So also, here's one thing I want to tell everyone. If you're afraid of doing this, don't. Just go do it. Go take what you got, go run it. Yeah. I drive to and from in the truck. I do not trailer it. It does not get trailered. I drive it. Anywhere between, I think drag week was 3,300 miles by then when it was all said and done. And Six Summer was, I think was 2,800. So, and this one was 1,100 for the weekend. I mean, just go out and do it. Just make sure your stuff's right, but you can do it.
Right. And I tell you, it's really doing an event in a slow car is better than not doing an event at all.
So funniest story ever on Drag Week 21 is, and as you guys mentioned, Randy Bellahar. I was in that group with him, and because he's from Minnesota with me. If I guess I missed that, I'm from Minnesota. He's way from Minnesota. He's like South Canada, but we were cruising out of a checkpoint, and literally his car shut off, and we're like, "What in the heck?" And he's like, "I don't know." We started doing the side of the road thing. Here to find out, he broke a cam, snapped it in half.
Oh, geez.
Wow. So we're sitting there, and so the one thing I didn't get to on my checklist of things I wanted to get done before I left for Drag Week was to get the air conditioning working. It was like 92 degrees out that day.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, it was horrible. Well, so what's funny is I'm like, well, I'm going to try it. I flipped it on because I've got the 4-ways because I'm the biggest truck. So I'm blocking traffic. We're on a 2-lane road. I'm half out trying to slow everyone down so that they don't pile into everyone. I flip it on and it turned on for 2 hours while we were doing this stuff. I had air conditioning for 2 hours when I needed it the most, and then it never worked again for the rest of the trip.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm like, oh, thank you. But I ended up, so what's funny thing is because I don't have a trailer, I yard sale this thing every time.
Dude,
it's fun.
Is the bed full of stuff then?
Oh yeah, it's full. It's well. So Eric, as I know, Mike and I have talked, and you posted up on a couple of my pictures. I also do drag race photography. So like on sick week and on drag week, I was doing photography on top of racing.
Dude, it's too hard. It's
stupid. It's
I
fun.
did it 2 years with Rocky Mountain or with Race Week. No way, man. I'm out.
It's dumb. I will admit it. It's you don't get to see half stuff you should, and things don't do. But I was trying to get pictures from my friends because it was the first time going out and doing that stuff. Yep. And so it's fun. I enjoy it.
The one thing I know now that I didn't know back then, because I was still trying to figure out, content collection and all that kind of stuff back then. You have plenty of time in the staging lanes. You just need somebody to move your car. Like, leave that dude in neutral or something. Just say, hey, push my car forward. I'm going to go up here and get some passes. Just let me know when I need to be back. That's the person you need, because that's the hardest part about getting the content and racing is you can't be too far from your car, or you're going to be you're a jackass for hogging a lot.
Yeah. So I always leave my key in the ignition.
Yeah, right.
Lane. If someone really wants to steal it, go for it. It's not going that fast. It is what it is. But there's actually a funny picture one of my friends took of me. He found me. So 21 was when I'm at AMC, the AMC guy, Goldstone, crashed, and when Mrs. Honk crashed, I was like 5 cars behind that line when all those went down. So because I was a dumb butt and decided to really try to hit the tree, and I red lit so badly that I didn't get a time slip, so I had to go back into staging and got stuck.
So,
Dang it.
no,
So then
it's
you're
all
like,
good.
so then you're questioning your ability there. You're like, man, or your answer. What should I do? Should I try and back out of here? Because I got to get on the road.
Luckily, it was last day, so it was, but it was still it's sitting in those staging lanes, and I luckily my pits was literally right on the edge there. I don't know if you ever saw the pictures of Nick with the Mountain Dew Mustang back then.
Mm-hmm.
They were camped. I pulled into the track because I was like the fourth or fifth person in that morning because I'm an early bird. I get up at 5 a.m. So I rolled into the track and set up my pit, and I look over, and there's the Mountain Dew Mustang, and there's these two lumps sitting next to it. Here they are on a tarp with sleeping bags over the top of them.
Yeah.
Out cold. I'm like, oh, sweet. I got a picture. So I was sitting staging right by the tech line or by the impound area and stuff. So I was bringing out waters to everyone and grabbing all the stuff out of my cooler because everyone else is on the further down. So I was like, no, we'll help them.
That's awesome.
No, it's good. I mean, this community is awesome. I love this group of people for the most part. I've never really had a major issue with anyone, and I've always been super awesome to help or with advice or just to BS and have fun. So,
right. Well,
25 this year's gonna be fun though. Can't wait.
Yeah. Tell us what's
I'm
up.
Bringing my 14-year-old son with me.
Oh, there you
the
go.
first
That's
time.
great.
Yeah, but he's a teenager. So we're working on weaning phone screens because he's going to be the navigator.
Oh, dude,
Pokemon Go's got to go.
It'll be fine for the navigation side of it. He can have the map up.
Yeah, but he's going to be playing Pokemon Go and whatever weird phone thing he's got on there now. So, I'm like, dude, you got to stop that. You're going to have to actually work.
Can you put a
Actually
camera in the van?
did a test at a local racetrack up here in Wisconsin and took him to it. And he's like, I'm like, here's the gist of what we're doing. We're loading the truck up. We're going. We're changing tires. We're setting up a small pit area. We're doing it all. We're going to make 5 or 6 hits, and we're going home.
Yeah.
And he did it all. He helped me change tires and got the gist of what was going on. And he wanted to do it. So.
Right. And I think once you get them, like, let's say out of because I have a 14-year-old daughter, she'll be 15 in January in like 2 weeks. And so, like, dude, she's glued to it. But if you get her away from that and get her in somewhere like, hey, we got to, this is what we're doing right now, she's fine. So a lot of times, I think once you get him away, he'll be like, oh, this is cool. And who knows how many pictures he's going to take.
Well, so that's what's even more funny is in school, he is in his photography class right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, yeah. And they're like, Dad, they don't have any they only have like 8 cameras. I'm like, well, guess where where one is.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
No, we're excited for that. We're going to do 6 summer, all the local tracks, all the ones I know. So I've got a good baseline of what to do and where we're going. And hopefully dial your own. I got to redeem myself. I got 5th first year, so with an 029 spread. So now that I've done 013 or 012 or whatever it was at one guy's garage, I got to step up my game and go see if I can take it again. So.
Well, and I think that's what's most fun. We were putting some stuff together for a Sick Week article we're writing, and I was looking at this guy named Jackson Devon ran Sick Week 22, and he won the DYO class with like a 029 or 025 or something like that spread. And I was just like, man, that's so tight on 5 tracks that you've never been to,
What's sad is it's not though. What's weird is I kind of want to go do Sick Week because for some reason that spread seems to be really loose.
Yeah.
And dial your own. And I don't know if it's because it's so early in the year and people just don't have their vehicles figured out or what.
Yeah.
But
or the spread is loose and they don't have to. You know what I mean? I think there's some of that, because like, dude, you know how it goes. How many passes you make the last day?
Last day I made 5. Byron, I did 7.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it takes that kind of stuff to get that consistent.
I was feeling bad. Like literally, I was talking to Joe. I'm like, do I keep beating it? Because but here's the caveat on that. I made those 7 passes in about an hour.
Least. Yeah. No thanks.
That's a lot.
Well, I was trying to slow down. So I was doing everything. The heat soak.
You're like, it's hot. Yeah.
I'm like, what can I do? What's hilarious is the guy at the ticket booth there, the young kid, had like a 92 Bronco. He's like, if you want to trade, if you keep beating on this thing, I'll trade you.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, sorry, bud. This one's way cooler than that.
Yeah, his truck was pretty cool, but I don't want a Bronco. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, dude. Well, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Hey, tell everybody where they can find stuff. Where should they be watching?
All right. Photographs and photography stuff is on Race Car Revolution on Facebook and Instagram. And then I also have a personal page for my fun stuff, and I have a Pinto build that I've been doing for what seems like I think it's now 18 years.
Yeah.
And we're looking at doing something else, me and the oldest son and the twins. So I have all 3 boys. So I have a 13-year-old boy that's going to be 14 by when we got on 6 summer. And then I have twin 7-year-olds that'll be 8 here in the spring. And they're really wanting to go with, and we're all scouts, or they're all scouts. So it's all about camping. I'm like, well, if we're going to do it, we're going to camp then.
Oh,
and we're going to just go have fun and make a camping week out of it. And so we're really they're really trying to talk me into take my daily driver 08 Crown Vic, get some sticky tires for it, and maybe some skinnies on the front, and just go daily DYO again, but just go have fun, do some slight mods to it. The main reason is the main reason the oldest one wants this is he also wants to run Junior Street at the local racetrack. So we're getting there. So the personal website or Instagram site is Barbecue and Burnouts, because if there's a good barbecue place around, I want to see it and feel it and taste it. So I'm all about that stuff. I'm always cooking.
I knew
stuff.
I liked you. And yeah, you and I have actually had a ton of conversations when my brother had the 2-3. You and I were back and forth a lot about all the stuff there.
There's not many of us out there, and as much as I love the Pinto, and it's such an odd combination and an odd car, and it's just weird. I will say this: after doing drag and drives in a truck with cruise control and air conditioning, and being able to just cool off and get out of the elements is so amazing.
Yeah.
That I'll keep this car for a while, and I'll get it running and do what it's going to do. But I have a strange feeling it'll be going away sooner or later. Yeah. It's got a built 2.3 in it with a aluminum head and cam and big whole set turbo on it and a C4 with a brake. I mean, it should go low 11s pretty easily.
Yeah, those cars are really a ton of fun, and that's really what started like your and I conversations about was when he was building that MG and what to do and all that stuff.
I can't believe what he did to it now, though. It befuddles me.
Hey, he's got automotive ADHD. That new car, wait till you see it, dude. It's going to be.
I'm sure it looks pretty cool from the few things he sent me. So.
It's going to be really, really cool.
But appreciate you too. Have fun. Have a good New Year.
Yeah, you
Thanks
too.
for having me on.
Hit me up for 6 Summer One Guy's Garage. I'll tell you some barbecue spots around here.
So where are you out of, Eric? I was trying to figure that out.
Northern Illinois, so I'm about 20-30 minutes from Byron.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I found one right outside of Earlville now that I've bookmarked. There's a place in the middle of nowhere that gets really killer reviews, so I'm gonna go try that one out with the son. So
yeah, there's a couple around here.
Cool.
I'm in.
All right, man.
Thank you all, Chris. Thanks, buddy. See you.
Have a good one.
Bye. Dude, I'm having too much fun with this. Let's bring on Mr. Sheldon Root, the third quickest Mr. Drag and Drive 8th Mile of 2024, the baddest man in this group here in the back that I'm looking at right now. Dude, super cool story. What's going on, man? What are you up to?
Just working on the car. Got a lot to do. It's only 3 weeks away, and stress level is starting to go up a little bit.
yeah,
no
that's for sure.
No front end on the car, so got a little bit to do.
Well, let's talk about 24 for a second, because you kicked ass. You took names. Sick Week 2024. You went down on a 235 tire. Are you going back on 235s this year?
Maybe later in the year. If I can maybe make it a Devon's race at the end of the year on the 235s. But I'm actually going to do quarter mile and trial. It's either going to be modified or pro street.
Oh man, okay. So I was looking at some stuff, like I said in the article earlier. What's the difference in modified and pro street?
There's no minimum weight in modified. In modified, you're allowed to have Lexan and fiberglass doors, fenders. Basically, pro street is like all steel, all glass. Has to be a 4-link, stock style front suspension, and 3,000 pounds minimum weight.
Oh wow, okay. What's your car weigh? It's probably that heavy though.
It's around 33 to 3350, depending upon how many batteries and how it's set up.
Yeah. I'll pull a picture up for folks that Obviously you're like one of the most famous people we've had on tonight. So, if they don't know who you are, they're under a rock. But tell us what the car is and the setup and stuff like that.
It's a 1962 Pontiac Acadian. Well, actually, an Acadian, black. It's like a Chevy Nova, but it's a Canadian version. It has different trim, taillights, the grill's different. It's a 540 big block Chevy, twin 94s. I switched between the Power Glide and the 400. Yeah, it's still got Gen 1 precisions on it, but they've been working great. And we'll probably upgrade this year. But it's like a 25.2 chassis. Everything is built by myself. Basically dragged the car out of the bush for $300 about 30 years ago and built it. So
wow. So let's talk about how you make this car work on, because one thing that is about Sick Week is the only way to race 8th mile is on a 235 tire in the Rowdy Radio class, that they kind of carried the same rules over from Rocky Mountain. So you're number 3 on the list here on a 235 tire. Like, pretty insane.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with how we did. When we came out this year, it was a brand new combo. We had never been down the racetrack with the big block Chevy in it. And I mean, I missed on the converter stall. We did have a lot of issues. I mean, we tried turning the power up later in the week, but the car actually slowed down because it just kept driving through the converter. But you get so wound up in just trying to go faster and trying to make the day that you don't really see your problem until after the race. I should have just slowed the car down and it probably would have gone faster. But yeah, so we've had time to work on the combo this summer. We tried different stator and it's definitely gone faster. So now we're kind of excited to see what it's going to do at Sick Week with the bigger tires on it and the quarter mile.
That's awesome. I can't wait. What kind of ETs has it done in the quarter?
We went 680 at 218 this summer.
Wow.
And
wow. So that's another 6-second car that we didn't have on the list.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone 6s. It was in drag and drive trim because actually the race that we were at requires a 4-lap cruise at Brainerd International Raceway. So it was in drag and drive trim when we did it. Had the bigger tire on it, but we were also not leaning on it hard in the first 330 feet, which I need to get the car better at. And that's where we need to do some testing to try to step that part of the track up a little bit better.
So you probably said where you're from, but I don't remember. You're Canadian, right?
Yes, from a small town, Lockport. It's in Manitoba, basically just right above North Dakota.
So that's a bit of a trip, and you're not testing right now.
No, it's there's snow on the ground.
So how early are you headed to Florida, and are you going to get some testing in before the event?
We're trying to get there the week before the event and do some testing in Florida the week before. It's just, it's a couple days to get there.
Yeah.
So
like, is it a Canadian convoy that comes down here? Like, like everybody kind
all
of
the
meets
crazy
up
people, yes, we all leave at around the same time. Honestly, it's hard to find good tracks where we are. You got to drive a fair ways. I mean, we do have a local track. It's definitely not set up for radials. So if you want radial racing, it's a drive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we kind of go to these events. They're fun. It's a nice break in the middle of wintertime.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge.
Well, and that's part of the there's like a paragraph in there about that in this article I'm writing is about why Sick Week works so well, is because there's 2/3 of North America, they're not racing.
No.
And so everybody takes a chance to run down and make some quick passes at great tracks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it's a great event. No complaints about it at all.
Rich Guido here says, hopefully we'll be there testing with you. We're almost 2 days from you. That's crazy. Canada is huge. People don't understand.
Yeah.
So
That's nuts.
yeah, we're
Well,
also going to try to do Six Summer
nice.
as well, and try to do Devon's race in November, and a few other local ones around here. There's actually a radial class over by Byron. I forget the racetrack off the top of my head, but they have I think it's Wisconsin drag radial, like a radial events. So it'd be nice to get some testing in on radial tires. That's kind of close to home. It's only about a 12-hour drive. So
wow. I'm hearing 3 events. Eric, you know what that means? That could be real good points accumulation for the Dragon Drive World Championship points series.
Oh,
No, and in those kind of time ranges, I mean, if you do well, that you'd be in the top few, that's for sure.
well, that's always the plan. I mean, one of these times I'm going to break. I mean, I've done 3 Dragon drives and I finished all 3, but eventually my luck's going to run out. Hopefully, later, not sooner. But I mean, just try to plan for plan as much as you can and cross your fingers and hope you finish and do well.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. How many passes do you think you've made in that car?
A lot. I mean, I've had this car a while. I've been racing it since 2009. I did take about 5 years off, but I do have lots of runs in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's very comfortable to race and very comfortable to drive for me because I'm so used to it.
Yeah. Well, and it's that car is probably, I would say, like, I don't know, it's definitely top 5 for me, especially at Sick Week. That car looks great. It sits right. I mean, I can't wait to see it down there.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's I'm always, the owner is usually the worst critic. You know all the flaws and I got to fix this and I got to fix that. And someone comes and says, "Oh, it's such a nice car," and you're thinking to yourself, "No, you need to look at it."
You're like, no, let me show you this. Let me show you this.
There's always lots to do. There's always things you want to fix, and that's just part of owning a car, especially when it's gone through a few transformations. It was a big block, then it went to an LS, and now it's a big block again. And so, I mean, you're constantly changing it, and sometimes you don't do it exactly the way you want it. But like a friend said to me one time, fix it right the first time because you'll never have time later to fix it. And that is so true. You try to do as much as you can because it's hard to go back and just fix stuff.
Well, a lot of times, especially with the car at your level, it would be difficult to, it's not just an engine swap to go from a LS turbo setup to a big block turbo setup. Like that's not a weekend deal.
No, it was a big swap. Yeah. So,
what engine control do you use for it?
Holley EFI.
Sweet. Sorry, we're probably getting deeper in what we wanted to this time. All right, tell us about a time you torn the car up.
Which time?
Just pick your most recent time you've made a mistake and the car paid the price.
Well, Sick Week 20. Let's go back to Drag Week 2018. I did a big power wheelie, came down and tore the front frame open. So we had to hammer the frame back together and weld it up and then carry on. We basically bent the front strut and we carried on. And then on the Thursday, we smoked a trans and had to change a trans on the Thursday. But yet we finished 3rd and modified. So we were, it was a long week, but it was good.
That's awesome.
2024, we didn't really have a lot of grief. Actually, maybe I did. I just don't remember. We had some valve train issues this year with a big block because of me not checking valve lash often enough. Actually, we lost a couple lash caps on one day. This week at Sick Week, we changed torque converters on Thursday night after Bradenton because we just drove through the converter. Got to the track at 4:30 in the morning. And then after the first pass, we knew we had second locked up, but I was trying to catch Matt. So we pulled out the 400 and I tried putting in the power glide for the remainder of Friday and it just wouldn't hook. So So it was, there's always something. And when you're trying to win, you're always pushing yourself to, second is great, but second sucks. So it'd be nice to get a first once in a while, but
right. Man, that's crazy.
Racing.
I want to hear more. Listen, we need to bring you back on. We've got to roll through. We've got some folks who've been backstage a long time, but I want to talk about the difference in like swapping from a 400 to a Power Glide, just real quick. What changes do you have to like? I mean, is there a new tune you put in, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, the bump box settings are different for the trans brake. The shifter is the biggest problem. You're going from reverse pattern to forward pattern, so you lose your air shifter, and then you have to manually, you're downshifting instead of upshifting on the shifter. Then it's easy to get into neutral. The drive shaft's different. The cross member's different. So there's the gear ratio went from a 148 in the 400 to a 180 in the Glide. So on the 235, it just took the tire right off, plus the prep gets a little bit lesser in the day. So the first pass, we went a 117 60 foot with the 400, but then we put the Glide in it and we just couldn't make it down. So
that's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's pretty interesting. I don't know of anybody else that's done that, to be honest, to go from to swap from like a 400 to a Glide.
Well, it's not the smartest idea. But I mean, I only have one 400, and I always want to take a trans with me, so my backup's a Power Glide. So
that's awesome. Well, Eric was sending me a message there behind backstage. The trophies there over your left shoulder, that was pretty cool there. So once you run us through the black one there and the clear one. Yeah.
Well, the black one is from the Dragon. I was supposed to be at PRI. Well, I wanted to go, but just couldn't make it. The one beside it's from last year from PRI. And then there's a no prep one there and the 3 from Brainerd for King Street. And the other one is from Sick Week 2023.
That's awesome.
So I'm missing one trophy, but my dad came with me this year to Sick Week, and he's never been to a racetrack ever. So he came along for the ride, and he's got my trophy. I figured, hey, he can have it.
And that's the one he went to? Man, how cool is that? That's pretty neat. You and Rich, man, bringing your dad down, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, I would imagine. All right. Well, listen, we appreciate you coming on.
Well, I appreciate the invite, and hopefully we have good things comes this spring or this winter at Sick Week.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, it was 60 degrees today here in Arkansas, so it's like spring to me.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was great. You guys would have been in shorts and a t-shirt, I'm sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Hey, thank you very much, man. And again, I want to have you on. I want to talk about some in-depth stuff, but super cool. We'll do that at a later time.
No problem. Have a good night.
All right, Sheldon. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Man, dude, we're rolling through, folks. Man, listen, this is we're kind of getting a rhythm here. I want to bring on Jesse Fox because I want to talk to him about 3G video and all the fun stuff he's got going on with Benny. But dude, once you break the seal, like it's
well, listen, I just made a list of the guests so far, and this will be our 10th guest of the show so far.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's bring Jesse on, and then I'm gonna sneak out for everybody that doesn't know. Oh, sorry. Yep. Jesse Fox runs 3G video. He's a professional photographer, professional videographer, all the fun stuff. His microphone is muted. I can't unmute it. I figured I'd say that before we jump on. But dude, you ran a live stream today. You did a live stream last week where you're tearing down an engine.
Yeah.
Man, walk us through. Listen, I just want to tell a backstory real quick. A couple of years ago, I met Jesse in person. I'd followed him for a while before that, but he was nice enough to let me cruise along in Benny the Volvo with him. And listen, dude, it was one of the greatest. I mean, that was one of the greatest trips ever. I'm a shitbox connoisseur.
Hey,
and at that time,
Benny is beautiful and magnificent. I don't know what you're talking about.
At that time, we were literally adding oil every gas stop. You would, if you had your foot on the throttle and there was some vacuum, smoke came out of this side. If you were in boost, smoke came out of this side of it. It was great. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. But since then, he's changed it up. And dude, I want to talk about how many miles you drive a year. I want to talk about some roadside stuff you fixed and how you've kind of kept that car going. Because, dude, you literally live a drag and drive life. So tell that. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah,
Well,
I
let's
enjoy.
start. Yeah,
oh,
let's start out with who you are and what you
okay.
do. Mike's jumping way ahead here. He's getting too
What?
excited.
No. Everybody knows. No, it's fine. No, my name's Jesse. I am a photographer, as he already said. I do videos on 3G Video YouTube channel and over on our website, 3gvideo.net. So go check us out. Make sure you go check out those links and such. But yeah, I travel around and cover drag and drive events. Do other events as well, but we're mainly known for drag and drive. Did 11 events in 2024 and did 13 events in 23. I think we did 5 in 22, I think, something like that. So we've been really getting into the scene a lot more. I've loved drag and drive for a long time. Seeing all the guys come through before me on here that have been in drag and drive since, like its conception and everything. It's wild to see, but I remember watching it growing up, going through college and stuff. We would always watch Drag Week on the live stream in college, and just loved the sport, and finally found an opportunity to be able to be a part of it in a way. Ultimately, I mean, I'd love to race, and that is kind of the goal we want to get to eventually. But just being able to be out there, be in it, and be able to share my passion of photography and videos and all that has been a really, really amazing time. So yeah, that's a little bit about us.
Yeah,
There's a
I
lot more to it.
I don't think I've been to an event that you haven't been at. So you've been at a lot of events, and what I don't think people maybe understand is you were at 11 events, but 11 events not right next to each other. I mean, you
Yeah.
drive from one side of the country to the other side. So
Yeah.
what's the farthest you had to drive this year from one event to another?
Yeah, well, so this year was actually a really light year for us, which sounds kind of crazy. But we only, I got actually just doing my records yesterday, and I found that we did 21,000 miles this year, just 2 drag and drive events and such during the events and to them, and it felt really light. I mean, compared to 23, it really felt light because we did 37,000 in 23. So that, a little different, but I think our longest drive this year was, at least the worst turnaround was between Big Sky and Rocky Mountain Race Week. So
That's what I was wondering.
yeah, I think that was the worst one because we just with time frame, and the fact that it was after Six Summer, Big Sky, then Rocky Mountain. So all of them were week after week. They were right up next to each other. So we had from Six Summer, I got done with that event Friday evening, and I drove through the night through Saturday to get from northern Illinois out to Montana. That was a good little haul. Got there at the end of their tech day, and then did their event. And then the bad one was when we got done with Big Sky, had to bomb down from Montana down to Tulsa. And I went with Cameron Thorpe. Me and him rolled together. He's in another Volvo wagon, so we had Volvo wagon squad rolling.
Yeah.
And yeah, it got pretty bad. We got down because that was the one leg of the trip this entire year that we actually had some issues with Benny. So we were trying to sort some of that out, and then we were on the road for 18 hours, and I started hallucinating and it got a little unsafe. So I ended up pulling off about an hour before Tulsa and got some sleep, and they went on, and then I met up with them in the morning. So I think that was probably our hardest trip throughout 2023 season.
Yeah, and you've done stuff because you were at the Bonneville Salt Flats.
Mm-hmm.
You've done that. You had some crazy adventures on 666 or after 666 with storms.
Yeah.
You fixed Benny with a roll of duct tape. So listen, you got plenty of stories. So which one do you want to start with?
Oh, dude. Oh, man. Well, we'll do the duct tape one because that was an interesting situation. So I decided that Benny was not enough power with the little 4-cylinder and turbo on it. So decided to swap a Mopar V8 into it last winter, and that's what we've been running on this winter or this season. So it was a good move. Got a 5-speed transmission behind it, got it all put in, and I knew the drive shaft angle was a little wonky. It has a 2-piece drive shaft, and it's got a a carrier bearing that holds the front drive shaft so that it doesn't flop around. Well, in our haste to get it ready for sick summer and going on, an 8,000-mile road trip because reasons, it wasn't exactly right. So I used the old carrier bearing. I didn't get a new donut that holds the carrier bearing, and it gave out on our way to sick summer. I was with John. He was following me. We stopped and pulled over, called AAA to get a record to get us up to the track, and we were just going to figure it out from there because we weren't too far from Byron up there. So that was the plan. We spent all night. We ended up on the side of the road for over 12 hours. AAA never showed up. And we're sitting there. I was trying to think of things, and I was sitting in the back of the car. It was like the next morning. And I had this roll of duct tape where it was like Gorilla Tape that was sitting there. And I had opened it up to get some tools out or look for something. And I was sitting and I looked and I was like, that just looks like the right size. Like the inside of this roll of duct tape just looks like the outsize of that carrier bearing. What are the odds that this would fit? Like what? And then the outside of it looked like the outside of the donut. So like, we're not doing anything else. Let's just see. And I hopped under there and it fit perfect. Absolutely smack on perfect. I was like, well, looks like this is how we're getting to the track. So
yeah,
I slid that in. I hopped in John's car. We went over to the to a hardware store that was fairly close, and got some like self tappers and some longer screws to go through the duct tape. And took the carrier bearing was here, put the duct tape around the carrier bearing, and then ran some screws up in it on either side of the carrier bearing so it couldn't slide within the duct tape. Put the duct tape up, clamped it from the tunnel and the bar, the cross member that clamped it there, and then ran self tappers through the bottom and the top, like through the floor into the duct tape so that it couldn't move, and then drove it for 1,200 miles because it worked. And then, and then had a new, actually, then I ordered 2 donuts to be shipped to the track, and they were there that Friday when we got back at the end of sick summer, and I put that in. And I actually had an issue with it, and then self-tappered those in, and it's been fine ever since. So,
and here's the one thing I love about Jesse and Benny and all that stuff is there's been several times him and I mainly as a 40-year-old dad, am like, dude, just get something like John has. Like John has a Corolla.
Yeah.
I drive the little Saturn. I'm like, but he's like, no, man, it's not cool. It's not cool. And I'll tell you, it's motivated me to get back, to start thinking about driving the old truck everywhere.
dude, you need to
camper shell on the back and just nap in it. So, I love Benny. Benny's so cool, man. And how many miles did you drive last year? Have you already talked about this?
Yeah, we mentioned it. This year was real light. We only did 21,000, so it was like 21,600.
And that's light.
Yeah, it was real light. It was half the miles that we did. Well, almost half the miles that we did in 23. But 25 is going to look a little different, I think. So
yeah. So let's jump into that.
Yeah. 25. This has been getting a little crazy as it's been getting on. So at PRI, which was like 2 weeks ago, I had on my calendar 12 Dragon Drives. 12 Dragon Drives that I was planning on doing for the 25 season. I was looking at all the schedule. I'm like, man, there's a lot of them that I'd like to go to, but they're overlapping. And it was just like, no, it's going to be another year like 23 was, where a lot of overlaps and I just can't make it everywhere because I can't be in 2 places at once. And then we got back and a lot of events started posting dates and they all just kind of fell right in place. So we're actually going to 17, which is a couple.
You're my hero.
So the only issue that I'm seeing with this season is in the 2023 season, it worked out perfect. It was a perfect storm because a lot of the events, like I would go out on a trip and then I would just hang out away and then go to the next event and just make a big loop, and it worked out great. I'd have like a week in between and just, it worked really good in 23. Well, this year I do have like a week in between every event, which is great. It gives me enough time to do whatever we need to do, get caught up, get photos out, get, everything on the website and all that caught up. Problem is it's back and forth on the country this year. So there's no like one big trip. Well, there is one trip that I get to do that is all one trip, and it's only 2 events, but it's a mega week down in Texas, and then we'll be going up to Big Sky, and we got a week in between, and then I'll be coming back. Other than that, it's basically just like, okay, go out to Oregon, come back to the Smokies, go back out to Northern Canada, go, so it's going to be a lot of miles this year. I haven't got the estimate totaled, but I know it's going to be over 50, probably close to 60,000 this year.
That's crazy. I love it. There's one trip in there that you're really pushing me to ride with you, and I just don't know if I can. So, for the folks that have been paying attention, Drag Week ends on the 19th.
Yep.
Redwood Rally, literally Cannonball Run the other side of the country, is on the Tuesday or something like that. They're on the 22nd.
It starts on Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah, they're on the 22nd of the next week. So that's 3 days to make it from Maryland International Raceway all the way to Oregon, to Medford, Oregon for Redwood Rally. So
no big deal. It's
the stories there.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fine. It's 15 hour. It's 3 15-hour days of driving is what it kind of equals out to.
Yeah, and gotta be 15-hour days. Like, you've got to make that trip. You got to be able to get in there.
Well, that's just 15 hours of driving. That's not including stops. So
yeah,
it's
man. I don't know. I can't. I think I could leave if I flew home Saturday morning. I could get a couple days home and then fly out there for Tuesday. But that's really is fun.
You could also be riding in a 1984 Volvo 240 without AC across the country. I mean,
dude, let's talk about stories we're going to tell when we're 30 or when we're 80. That's not going to be flying home after Drag Week and flying to California is not going to be a story I tell.
No, but you tell them, yo, I followed this idiot in a Volvo and we just bombed across the country. That's a good one, I mean,
yeah, that's a pretty good one. I don't know, man. That's pretty exciting. Dude, you've done this for a good while now. What are some changes you've seen in the community? When did you start really kind of kicking off your drag and drive photography career?
Yeah, so 21 was my first drag and drive that I ever actually attended, and that was Drag Week. I went there, and it was actually not even, I wasn't really planning on it at the beginning of that year at all. I'd been planning on going to Power Tour. I'd done Power Tour a couple times, one in a vehicle that we're not, anyways, one in one vehicle, and then did Benny 2 years with that. And I got done with Power Tour, and Drag Week was like, there was a week in between, and then there was Drag Week that year, and I was like, well, the videos did okay at Power Tour. I was like, okay, well, we're just gonna run out to Drag Week and see what happens, let's see. And I wanted to go to had Rocky Mountain the next week after that, and I really wanted to go to that, but it wasn't feasible. I didn't make it, but going to a first Drag Week really caught the bug, and then it just kind of spiraled out of control from there. So the next year I went to 5 events, I think, then 22. Really good time. It was fun. That was my first sick week. Sorry, that was first sick week. I've been to all the sick weeks. In total, I think it's like 31 drag and drives that I've been to in 3 years.
That's awesome.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. So
yeah, bunches, and just about gonna put 150% of that up in a year.
Darn right.
You and I spend a lot of time together. We talk on the phone a lot too. One of the cool things I think that we've seen, or that I've seen, is I wasn't a professional at any of this stuff before Drag and Drive came around, and you were probably a great photographer and a professional at that point. But think of the businesses that have been built around drag and drive, specifically drag and drive. There's a lot of photographers that were drag racing photographers that are still drag race, but dude, you've built a whole business. 3G videos built around your experiences at drag and drive events. So it's pretty awesome.
I mean, I feel like it happens a lot that a lot of people just start to assume that I'm everywhere, which is kind of cool. It's cool to get that assumption.
You are,
But like I get asked a lot if I'm at like no prep races and that type of stuff, and I haven't done a lot of just drag racing events, no preps and just like a just a drag race. I haven't done a lot of that. It's mainly been all just drag and drives because I really enjoy seeing the cars on the street, and that's that's my passion, is actually driving your race car. Is not. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love really fast race cars. I love seeing top fuel cars. I love seeing pro mods and that stuff. But it's way cooler when you put a pro mod on the street. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah.
So that's that's my thing. And I'm down for anything that is putting a race car on the street. It doesn't necessarily have to be a drag car. I mean, I've been to an autocross week and I absolutely loved that. It was cool seeing that style of car on the street. I'd love to go to a drift week and do that. I know my normal audience, that's definitely not their forte and not something that they would necessarily be interested in. But I'm all about just any way to get a car on the street and actually get seat time and get to enjoy it. Because there's a lot of times you'll get a race car, it's a dedicated race car, and like how much seat time you actually get in that car. I mean, you take it to a race on a couple weekends a year, and okay, great. Okay, you drove that car maybe 10 hours.
Yep.
Okay, well, I get to drive my thing 10 hours in a day. Like, so like,
Yep.
and it's like, yeah, maybe it's not the fastest thing in the world. It's not, but it's my project car and I get to enjoy it. And I get to see all these other people that are getting to enjoy their cars. So that's what's really pulled me to drag and drive, and talking about changes that we've seen over the year, like even just since 21, whenever I got into it. I mean, you're seeing people truly build cars specifically for it. It's not like, oh, this is my drag car that was street legal and I brought it to do this. It's like, no, these guys are very specifically building this car only for drag and drive. And I think that that's really cool to see that change. Another change that we've seen, and I've kind of noticed in particular, is from watching it, when I was younger, coming in and watching Drag Week. That was the only event. And when people showed up, they would do anything to finish Drag Week. Like it didn't matter. Like, you were going to finish if it took everything we had. So they would go the extra mile and do the engine swaps and do the like resurfacing of heads in the middle of the night, doing crazy stuff where we don't see that necessarily as much anymore. Because when you think about it, okay, well, if we don't finish this event, we can get the car together and go to another event in 2 weeks. Like, so it's kind of, I think that there's something a little bit lost in that, but we've gained so much more with having more events because we get so much more to see. So it's just kind of a give and take. And I don't know. I don't think it's bad. It's just a progression. It's just the difference in the sport a little bit.
Right. And I think as people, so if we went back and looked at, say, 2017, 2018, we looked at those racers that were there then, and we look at that core group of guys that are the guys and girls that are there now, like those folks are still doing that. Right. But maybe they've been following Drag and Drive since Drag Week 2010. Right.
Yeah.
So in the next 4 or 5 years, as these folks that have come in and are like me, I mean, dude, I still haven't finished a Drag and Drive. 3, 4 events I've raced in, still haven't finished one. But it was 4:00 on the last day, and we had a 4.5-hour drive with a working transmission. There's no way I was going to swap that trans in time and be able to make it to race week to end.
Yeah.
But if it was the only event, man, maybe I would have, just to pull in right at the last second,
Yeah.
Or I would have thought, hey, when that overdrive went out, I better start looking for a transmission because the rest of the gears are going to go out at some point, and we'll be swapping this on the side of the road.
Yeah.
But at that point, I wasn't thinking about that because me, I was more content creation mentality then as well. But I think people will begin to look at stuff like, hey, I am going to take the time. I am going to bust my ass to come out here and finish this event because, dude, for a lot of folks, they're still only doing one event a year. Hang on, I'll tell you this number right here because this is because as many people as we talk about all the time. Hold on just a second. as many people as we talk all the time that do this. 2,799 people for 2024. 2,480 unique racers. Okay.
Mm.
Let's
Yeah.
sorry. I'm pulling up how many people did one event in 2024.
I think one thing that we also have to kind of take into contention here is the people that have done it a long time have their stuff figured out, right?
Yeah.
So they're not necessarily breaking those big parts
Yeah.
like they used to. So I mean, there is that as well in
Yep.
that change. But
Well, and for 2024, 2,218 racers only did one national level
wow.
event.
Okay,
So,
yeah, national. Yep.
Yep, we talk about all the people, but there were still only 263 people that did multiple events. But think
Wow.
about that.
Wow.
There's
Yeah.
Hold on, sorry, that's not right. Sorry,
I was gonna say, I'm like, man, I feel like I see people
total
all
numbers.
the time. They're at multiple.
Yeah, 263 people
Wow.
did more than one national event in 2024. That's the biggest number ever. I mean, obviously we had more cars and more people than
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
before, but you start thinking 2,200 people only did one event.
Man,
Like,
that's insane.
it's wild. So as we move into 2025, we're really into a new decade of what these events were. So you had like the first 10 years, there was only one event, there was Drag Week. Then the next 10 years ends with 2024. And so we went from having literally one event to 2020 or 2015, we had 3 events.
Yep.
Now we have 37. We had 37 in 2024. We're already with dates and tracks announced at 30 events for 2025. So
yeah, I don't know, man. I'm hoping.
I love it. Everybody talks about saturation. We ain't even close. We're not even close. There's so many tracks and so many racers available for this stuff. You guys, man, I can't wait.
Dude, I've got some wild ideas of where like some Dragon Drive should be at some point, but I don't know if it'll ever happen because it's just like it feels like there's these areas, even though we have Dragon Drives everywhere. It feels like they're everywhere. There's still areas and pockets, and it's like we haven't had a Dragon Drive here. Why? Like, why hasn't there been one here? So it's like it'll be interesting to see over the next 10 years how this can go.
Yeah, I agree 100%. All right. We've got to move on. We've got to bring on the Gearhead Perspective podcast guys and Uncle Stoney. We're going to bring them on next. Dude, tell everybody where they can find you. Tell them the website, tell them the Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so it's at 3G Video on all of it. Go check us out. YouTube 3G Video. You can just search 3G Video. 3gvideo.net for the website. We got merch over there if you want to pick up shirts, hats, all that stuff. Whatever. And if you own a business out there and you want to partner with us, we got a partnership thing. There's a link at our on our website. So go check us out. We're definitely open to working with people, and we love this sport, man. So thanks for having me on. And are we gonna have like a big thing at the end or something like that? Or
yeah, I mean, you're more than welcome to hang out. I think after we get through, so we have Gearhead Perspective, who's a great podcast, and then we also have Fast Act Racing, and then we're just probably going to open it up.
Awesome.
I mean, I don't have anything else going on tonight. I don't know what Eric's got going on tonight, but we're at 2 hours and 47 minutes right now. So everybody hit the share button. Let's get into this second half of the show.
Yeah, so I'll just hang out over here, and I'll look forward to getting on with everybody.
Awesome. All right, Jesse. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, guys.
See you. All right, real quick, let's run through. I want to thank our race car friends, y'all. Please, huge numbers tonight. It's been great watching everybody. I hope everybody kind of has this playing in the background while they're working in the shop, while we're kind of getting ready for the end of the 2024 year. I mean, we're right here at the end as we move into the 25 season. It's pretty wild. If you'll do us a favor, hit the share button. Going to do that, y'all. I'm telling you, race car friends have helped more hours than you can possibly imagine to keep working. I know that's true for me, and I'm sure it's true for Eric. And just want to give a big shout out to our sponsors. If you're spending money, please try and spend it with these folks: Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, J-Wire Solutions, who will be on just shortly, Howard's Cams, love you, Luke B, Sweet Patina, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk Classifieds. Listen, you got to jump on there. You got to enjoy those folks. Got to spend money over there. They have a lot of really cool stuff on all of those sponsors that we got. And the guys at Gearhead Perspective, I'm excited to bring these folks on because listen, these are some of my favorite people. We get to hang out with them a little bit at PRI. I can't wait to do this because we got Uncle Stoney here in the back as well. Guys, tell us what's going on. What are you doing? Where are you at?
Well,
we're at Doherty's house.
John doesn't know what to do with his hands right now.
I don't
He's
know
kind of
what to do
freaking
with my
out. So,
well, I'm jealous. If I had known y'all were going there, I'd have just came there.
No, you should have come over. We're in the Gearhead garage over in Grove-ish, Oklahoma.
Grove-ish. John,
sorry,
did you just have
we've
to
been
ask where you
pre-gaming a
live?
lot because you guys have been on here for a while. Like you started way earlier than us.
I know. I messaged Fro earlier and I was like, "Hey, just keep drinking. We'll bring you guys on in a little bit." He was like, "No problem."
No, we super got it handled.
Well, all right. Give us the rundown of who's in the room. What's going on?
Who's in the room?
well, we brought a special guest tonight.
Yeah.
I know. I can't wait. I love
Right.
him. He's like my big brother. And
Guess who?
I know.
We brought me, John the Gearhead, Fro over here. We brought Uncle Stoney, hanging out in the shop tonight.
Well, I'm excited about you living back in Grove because
Yeah.
you lived in St. Louis for a while and now you're back and this is awesome.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting to be back in town, surrounded by super good gearheads.
Bucket list mob jumping in there.
I know it, dude. I love those guys too. I was messaging Mike earlier and was like, "Hey, man," he was like, "I don't know if I can or not. Maybe." So for everybody that doesn't know, that hasn't paid attention to the stories I've told in forever, but Jonathan is the reason I'm involved in this at all. Starting way back, I'm telling you, this is $70,000 worth of money raised for the children's shelter time ago. This is 11 or 12 years ago. Jonathan allowed me to print shitty T-shirts and sell it in a streetcar shootout that he did. And
I still wear mine.
Dude, I can't fit in mine anymore, but
Stinky
I
truck.
would wear it if I could, but I can't. And then so that created a friendship and a bond that came. I mean, he's my big brother. He's one of the coolest dudes I know, but he is the reason I do this. He is the reason I did Race Week. He's the reason all the kind of stuff that came about from this. So big thanks to him.
It only took me 3 years to get you in the car on Race Week. So
yeah, right. What's funny is, like, if you think about it, if Drag Week hadn't canceled, how much longer would it have taken me?
yeah, I don't know. It changed everybody's lives for sure.
Yeah.
What year was it that we went to?
We saw the Crown Vic.
Yeah, we went to Race Week, and we were sitting there going, "Man, these cars are running like 13.0s, and this is the most exciting thing we've seen since forever." We both had aspirations of running 13.0s.
Yeah, he took the Crown Vic, and the first time was in 20, and then again in 21. So
really,
yeah.
So, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
so
it was one of those years.
It was one of those years for sure.
And then it actually would have completed 20 with if I hadn't broke, but then 21 it broke itself. So
that's fine.
Yeah, and it hasn't been on the road since 21, since Race Week 21. And Steven and I stabbed the transmission in it last night, and the torque converter was wrong, so pulled it back out. Another year off the road.
Damn it! It's going to take a year to do that deal.
Well, hey, listen, we got to work on the old truck to get it ready for the circuit.
Yeah, we've been waiting on an update on that.
Yeah, so him and I leaned against it last night. Does that help?
So have you guys told everybody the plan on that yet? Is that public knowledge or is that
On which one?
on the truck?
Oh, the truck. So it'll go to my brother's house, Stephen Narks Lipton Customs. It'll go to his house and get the drive shaft and make sure the stuff is all right. And then he's going to drive it because I'm a shitty driver.
On the circuit.
On the circuit, yeah. And then
Yeah.
after that, my plan is to daily it. So even though I don't go anywhere now, but I do intend to drive it across, all over the country. So yeah, I'm excited to have it back and about. Enough about me. We talked about me. I feel like sorry. Let's talk about you guys. What you've raced, what your project cars are. We don't want to get into Stoney's project cars, like his number one project car maybe, but he's got a long list of stuff that's over there. So tell us what's going on. What y'all did in 24.
Fro's car got painted.
Yeah.
It's got lace on it now.
Super not a drag and drive car.
No.
But I am looking forward to
low and
debuting it
slow.
at the circuit.
Yeah. It's going to be the circuit road trip.
Yes.
Maybe feature car. I don't know. I think that would be a good deal for it.
Don't go that far.
Everybody follow that guy.
Don't go that far.
He's our
He
leader.
barely knows where he's at, let alone where he's going.
Hey, I think we all agree we're not into lace, but that's pretty sexy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Turned
yeah.
out.
If
Turned out
one of
good.
us was going to look good in lace, it was going to be Fro.
Jungle Fro pulling out the lace.
Yeah.
So, hey, speaking of Jungle Fro, Narks, what's up? You joining him this year or what?
Oh yeah, for the Jungle Fro, Jungle Pam thing. Yeah, listen. He raised $1,000 in 2 hours. I got to get in on some of that. We're gonna be shorting it. I got to cut my shorts here pretty soon, but they're gonna be short.
I will help you cut them.
Do not threaten me with a good time. We may cut them on site. I may be wearing them.
So I had a guy tell me one time, and this was a man. He goes, "Man, if your pockets aren't longer than where the shorts are, they're not really shorts." I was like, really?
Yeah, that's the plan. I'm thinking the back shorts. Maybe we cut the bottom out of the back pockets.
If you wear them, that doesn't bother me at all.
It's going to bother me for sure.
So John and I will be back at the circuit for sure in April. Both of our cars will have some changes.
We're both making NA big block great again.
Yeah. I think I'm going to run in a big block too, just because I can hang out with these guys.
You got a whole shop full of NA big block guys over here.
Well, hold on. To be clear,
I
am going to have a big block in the wagon, and I am going to run in a big block at the circuit.
Yes.
Unless I line up next to John, because my car is being built for nitrous. Okay?
I thought that's what NA meant. Nitrous assist.
Yeah. No. So what's going to happen is I'm telling you guys right now, if we line up next to each other, I'm spraying it. And then I'll say, okay, guys, I accidentally sprayed it. I'll go make another pass.
So I just got to make sure he don't make any passes without me in the lane next to him.
Crap.
And we'll be fine.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but if you're racing him, how am I going to race you?
Yeah.
Oh crap! We didn't even think this through.
Well, tell us what the cars are. What are your project cars? What are you bringing to the circuit? That's the best question.
Mine's an 82 Malibu wagon. I had it on the circuit last year with a super budget small block with 100 shot, which turned out the bottle was empty day one even. So it did go PB. I went 750 at Ozark, which for a junk small block and a little shot, I didn't think it was that bad. That's what it is. It sat in a field in Kansas for 17 years. I traded a rifle for it, and then worked on it for the next year and a half, 2 years. It changed a lot in that time. And now we're just working on making it faster. So
what color is that? What do they call it? What do you call that?
I call it root beer.
Man, it's like
some people call it root beer. It's actually a Honda color, believe it or not. I tried to have the factory
That's
color.
why it's so fast.
Yeah. I had it the original paint, the best piece of the car I could get scanned, and that's the color it came up with. I actually think it's called amber brown is the name of the color.
Mm.
So, but it's a cool color. It's maroon with a little bit of pearl and a little bit of metallic in it. But it's I like it. It changes colors. It looks completely different in the daylight when there's sun on it, as opposed to when it's in the shade or anything. It's completely. I'm not gonna say it flops, but it's a different color.
I was going to show everybody, but you don't have any pictures of it on your Facebook, so you're not.
Oh man, yeah.
What a loser.
Loser.
Surely there's some on the Gearhead page though.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking at now.
Those are not any.
Yeah, not on your personal page, but there is on the Gearhead page. I'm pulling it up.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Look at that.
See, it looks really dark. It looks very dark right there, but with the sun, it's kind of overcast that day. But with sunlight on it, it's a very bright color. Hey, I know that guy.
I don't even know what we're gonna see here as we move through these photos, but
No, it's fine.
I'm liking it.
You'll be okay.
Okay. Yeah, love the car. One of the best drag and drive cars that's out there because it's obviously big block are going to be big block and long roof wagon. So kind of cool. And then John, what do you drive?
I got the 74 Nova. We affectionately refer to as my concho.
Yep.
Kind of nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on. I'm pulling it up now. The this is fun.
Wait, which? Oh, the car. The car.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do not search my concho.
Oh yeah, there's my concho. Look how beautiful it is.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but I love cars that are different colors and make the sounds that yours makes.
Mine's all the
it's
colors
amazing.
and makes all the sounds.
Dude, tell us the story of you on the side of the road around the corner from Bucky's. Where were we? Were we at Rocky Mountain? Was that 1.0?
So I think you're talking about Rocky Mountain when I ate the air cleaner stud.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were. So there we were. We had a really good day one, and then we camped and we drove all the way to Texas. And we're like, we're almost to the first checkpoint. We're an hour from end of the drive,
getting ready to have a victory swim.
Oh man, I told Jonathan, I looked over, my son was my co-pilot, not Fro, because I pointed at him, but it wasn't him for sure. He's old AF. But I looked over, I'm like, man, we're gonna get to the track, we're gonna set up our stuff, we're gonna go to the pool, it's gonna be awesome, we're gonna find whatever public pool we can go just swim in that deal.
Mm-hmm.
And less than 5 minutes later, we pull up to a stop sign, and it sounded like somebody threw a handful of change down the intake. And we pulled over, and like 8 hours later, we had both heads off, both heads back on, replaced two valves.
It's better than that. You took the head off, fixed it, put it all back together, then had to take it apart again.
Yeah. No, we did it twice. You're not pro unless you do it twice that day.
Just for good measure.
Yeah. But it was, and then we totally overheated the transmission middle of the night. It was great. We changed transmission fluid every day from there on out and ran better every day from there on out. So it was a good time.
And it's still, and it hasn't been touched since.
No,
It's fine.
I do very little maintenance. Not gonna lie.
That's awesome. Fro, I'm going to bring up a picture of your car because this car has a cool story. And tell us a little bit about your car, sir. Why everybody calls you Fro instead of Larry?
So my car is a 65 Ford Fairlane. It belonged to my grandpa. It belonged to my mom, and now it is mine. I didn't expect to paint this, and it was one of those things where we got super motivated and we decided we're going to go ahead and paint it.
By we, he means me.
Yeah,
it looks so cool, man.
So The funny thing on the lace is I'm almost positive I've eaten Thanksgiving dinner off of that tablecloth.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
that's pretty cool.
That car's been around since I inherited that car from my grandpa when he passed away, and it came home 2 days before my son was born, and we are just now getting to this point.
I mean, hey,
Son's 30.
That car's been around since like 65.
Yes.
Okay.
But they call me Fro because I have this tremendous head of hair.
Yes.
If you want to know the real answer to that, you got to look at his son.
Yeah.
Because his
This
son
got a redonkulous head of hair.
his son's been blessed with the same hair.
I shaved his head in '98 and it never came back.
That's the truth. No, I lost a bet in the 8th grade, and my hair doesn't. They bet me that I couldn't make it the entire school year without cutting my hair. I thought it was going to be just long, beautiful, flowing locks, and it turns out it was a troll doll.
it grows out instead of long.
It grows straight up. It's terrible.
That's
It gets
cool.
even prettier.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Uncle Stoney, tell us what your man, you've got a bunch of project cars, but what's the main one?
Right now I've been working on the Nova. So I plan on bringing it to the circuit this year. Kind of haven't really made a hard decision on what's going to have for powertrain yet, but it's not going to have the LS motor in it anymore. It's going to be something different than that.
Coyote.
So yeah,
totally.
100% going to be a small block.
Yeah, it's going to be a small block, but it might be big cubic inch, like big enough to be in the big block NA class, just so I can hang out with my buddies.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, listen, if they're going to invite you over there, you gotta be able to
Yeah.
do that.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a pretty car. Whose car's that?
Dude, I don't know, but this thing I rode in a car similar to this one time.
Yeah.
And was worried for my safety.
Did you die?
Almost, man. I'm telling you, it would have been the worst death, though.
Hey, did your throat hurt when you got out?
That was gonna be my question.
Wasn't that kind of ride, but my eyes were getting very heavy, very heavy.
Yeah.
So
That's
so
how
we're
it got thrown off YouTube.
so we're driving down the road, and Mike goes, "What happens if I go to sleep?" And I was like, "I go to the next town and find a morgue, and I leave you there." 'Cause if you go to sleep, that's what's happened. It's not like you nap in this thing or anything.
No, but man, I'm telling you, the more I think about that trip, the more I think you've almost got to do that. Like you got to have that. You got to have that experience. You got to have the car that's just like as light as it can be. It is race prepped. Like it's loud. It smells bad because of there's no, I mean, like it's just awesome. It was awesome.
The only thing I don't get is my car's all those things, but still slow.
Well, hey, it sounded great. It looked great. People were giving us thumbs up as we were cruising along. I was at the point I couldn't take any more photos because I couldn't see anything.
Finger guns.
No, he got to the point he had waved so much he had to wear a brace on his arm because he's just like
had tennis elbow from waving.
Hey, listen, the only cool part in that car, like cool temperature wise, was under the cowling on the hood, and that's where John stowed his water bottle that had to be 107 degrees. I don't know.
Yeah. So it's funny. John knows because his car is really similar, and it actually has the exhaust off my car from the big block NA combo. I tell people, I was like, this thing is loud inside, and they're like, oh yeah, like my car. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like my car's not even loud outside the car, but inside the car it's so loud you can't even explain how loud it is. And then people ride it and they're like, how do you even do that? And I'm like, I wear earplugs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no problem.
And it gets 4 miles a gallon. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Oh, my mom in here, you riding with him was payback for how you drove when I was with you. Yeah. You have no idea, mama. You have no idea. It was great, man. And so that's kind of your main, I mean, that's your number one side chick, for sure. But you've got a few others.
So next year, what I have in mind is I want to have the Nova ready for your race, and then the Rocky Mountain Mega Week. That's going to be something that may never happen.
Mega
again.
Week.
Yeah, that'd be something that may never happen again, where you have 600 cars in one drag and drive. So I just feel like I need to have the car in that. And then that car, I've finished a couple Rocky Mountains as a driver and a co-pilot, but the twice that I've took the Nova to Rocky Mountain Race Week, I've not finished. So that's another milestone for me, is to finish a Rocky Mountain in the Nova. So it's got to be there.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that'll be cool.
John, I'm in. I was just telling the guys earlier, I was trying to figure out how I was going to drive your car and mine.
What's that, like $1 million?
Well, and that's one thing you've said forever. Anytime we've ever talked, you're like, I don't care what it is. I'll put any motor in this car. I don't care.
People don't understand how little I care about what the powertrain is. I just want to go fast. And maybe win. So, so this year, you guys know I do the trophy for the circuit, the snail, and I do the turtles for Rocky Mountain Race Week. This year, I actually won a turtle at Rocky Mountain, and it really wasn't as great as what I thought it was going to be. But I had a friend, Rocky Franks, wanted it so bad. I actually gave him my turtle that I won this year, because he brought a truck to the race to win, and he didn't finish. And that's one of the rules, is you got to finish to win the turtle or the snail. You had to finish. And he wanted one, so I gave it to him. I won it, but I gave it to him because it's like I've tried so hard to place at Rocky Mountain Race Week, and I've really struggled. I've been close with the SR71 Trans Am that I took in 18, and then also with the Nova. I was setting the podium and then didn't finish. So like a Rocky Mountain trophy means a lot to me. I just didn't want it to be the turtle. Like it's like I sponsored that trophy just to make it fun for everybody, because there's a lot of effort goes into just finishing.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted the snail and the trophy to be something that, like, okay, so you're not going to win the class, but you finish. So this is something for your finish, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I won it, and I was like, oh man.
Man, this wasn't as cool as I thought it was going to be.
This thing sucks.
This would be way cooler to give to somebody.
And then it even went as far as to, like, I took my Corvette on that, and Boo come over and he goes, man, thanks. I really didn't want to finish last. He goes, I know that if you'd just like put some solid effort into it, you could have beat me, but you didn't want to tear the car up. He goes, I know, like, you could have tore the car up possibly, but you could have beat me. But I really appreciate you, like, not.
Jerk.
Yeah. I was like, oh, why don't you just kick me in the nuts?
Yeah, just right square in the nuts.
Thanks, friend. Yeah, I thought we were friends, man.
Oh, geez. Well, let's talk about experiences you guys had this year. Anybody tear stuff up and have to fix it roadside?
No, we already talked about mine.
Yeah.
No, I think pretty fortunate.
I didn't have to do any repairs on the Nova. I had to pull the intake off of it, but that was not on the roadside, and it was actually didn't even fix the problem. It was just like the old motors wore out, and it was blowing oil everywhere, and I thought it blew the valley pan gasket. It didn't. It just had like an external leak everywhere.
So
it just leaked everywhere.
Mine at the circuit, I had a fuel cell that I completely split down the bottom, and I did all kinds of crap to get that thing to go down the track 2 times in a row, and had no idea where I was even at. But I finished that deal, and I got a fancy little trophy for that.
It's one of them.
Yeah, and then
did you use the soap trick? Is that to fill?
Man, I put soap, I put baby oil, I put everything on that deal.
Did we change subjects?
Yeah, right.
We got a one for you.
Not that kind of trip.
I went to the truck stop and I got everything I could. All right, so sorry again. No, we made it on the track, and I was pulling up the lane, and I looked over at my buddy Mike, and he was walking up there with me, and I was like, man, are you sure it's still sealed up? There's nothing coming out. And he's like, oh, I could tell he was lying for sure. And I pulled up the lanes anyway. It was fine. But we went down. It ended up, everything ended fine.
It's want to thank Pickard's Performance Coatings and Gearhead Perspective, and they'd all. It's fine.
Yeah.
Wait, did you say Pickard's Performance Coatings?
Yeah.
Okay.
You down with PPC?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Gearhead Perspective Podcast, dude. What do you guys talk about? What's going on over there?
Man, if you want to know the latest on politics or like the stock market or some fancy stuff you would hear on the news, super not your place.
No.
We're not the sharpest tools in the shed.
We can't even spell tools.
So here's the deal. We kind of, what we try to do is our shows, it's basically us just kind of sitting around BS and like before, like if this wasn't on right now, us four would be sitting here BSing. That's kind of how we want our show to go.
Yeah.
We don't have a script. We barely even talk about what we're going to talk about before we hit record, or go live. Now, since we've gone live, and we've had so much fun with that. We've been very fortunate. There's a lot of, I say a lot, several people that get on there and comment.
You're
and
welcome.
And it's
Like
you.
7.
Listener 710 is right here. For them to get in on the conversation, it's made it pretty awesome. So our subjects do bounce around. We do on every show. Fro always comes up with a few marketplace gems, and some are really cool and some are junk, and we like talking about them.
Yeah, we like talking about that junk.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much whatever. Last week's was PRI, right? No, last week's we had Bucket List on. Bucket List Mob. Had a great time with those guys. It was awesome. The week before that, we talked about our trip at PRI, which we could have had 4 shows on PRI.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I mean, there's going to be more.
We
I'm
could
sure.
have had even more shows if these guys weren't so freaking lame. Nothing against you guys.
Yeah, you're cool.
Yeah, you're cool. Well, hey, Stoney's going with us next year to PRI, so we've already worked that out. So I'm excited about that. We'll have to definitely get together and record some stuff while we're there.
Yeah, John and I for sure will go back next year. I don't know if Fro's gonna go. He's a maybe, I think.
I'm a maybe. Right
Our
now.
buddy Devin, he definitely is not gonna go back ever.
100%.
Ever.
He was sucking his thumb a lot and laying on the bed in a fetal position moaning.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of me for sure.
No, he said, I didn't know we'd walk this much.
No.
If you go to PRI, get the tacos.
Don't eat the tacos.
Woo! He got the bad tacos day one.
The walking tacos, dude, they were great, man. But listen, after about 30 minutes, I was ready to find somewhere to sit down.
Well, Devin, sit down for 2 days.
You mean one of them chairs with the handle on the back?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was great, man. We had a good time there. That was a ton of fun. Well, so how often do you guys go live, record shows, all that kind of stuff?
Once a week, if you want to hang out in the garage with the Gearhead guys, 7 o'clock.
7:30.
7:30. Is it 7:30?
7:30.
Okay, 7:30 Sunday night. We I'm always there on time.
Doherty doesn't own a clock. It's fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
can't
he
tell
doesn't
time.
know when it starts. He's talking.
He's just ready to go.
I can't tell time, but I'm there on time.
He's got a bottle of beer and some pickles. He's ready to boogie.
Yeah, we got pickles and beer. But if you want to hang out with the Gearheads in the garage and just talk shit, that's where you want to be.
7:30 Sunday night.
That's awesome. All right. Well, the Fast X guys are still working on the Nova in the back. So what I think I want to do, let's maybe for the next 20 minutes, Carl Stansel's been on. He's the man. He's been here 3 hours. Love that dude.
Minutes?
So yeah. So let's bring him on as well. And then Jesse Fox, when he gets back on, I'm gonna bring him on, and we're just gonna I don't know what we want to talk about. I don't want to tell stories. Let's just fill the next 20, 25 minutes with stuff. So we'll see. I mean, listen, we've been on 3 hours and 17 minutes. We've been
Loser
nights all day. So all right, hang on. I'm gonna text. All right. Do you guys know Carl? Carl is awesome. He
Yep.
runs Drop the Hammer, all this stuff. I'm sure you guys have been around. So talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to text Jay.
Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic.
Hey, Carl, what's up?
Hey, Carl.
Hey guys.
Fuzzy dice.
What's going on?
Fuzzy dice are a yes, that's for sure.
Just enjoying the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carl, did you do 2014 Drag Week?
Yeah. 2014 was my first drag and drive.
It was Stoney's too.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay.
Man,
So-
there's something that happened there that's really cool. I just don't know what it is yet, but we're gonna figure it out.
Well, I mean, it was the birthplace of Rocky Mountain Race Week to start with, but
yeah.
And then I remember, Carl, you had the Blazer that year, didn't you?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I remember walking by and looking at your Blazer, and I didn't know till I walked over that there was a divider in it to divide the back from the driver's compartment.
Oh yeah. Yep. For
Yeah.
the fuel cell and everything.
Yeah. Yes. I when I walked over, I was like, man, that thing is awesome. So
I have no idea. He's laughing at me.
He's off. No,
so
sorry.
And it was Pro Charge Big Block at that point, wasn't it?
Actually, that's not the one.
Okay.
That was a later version, the round body. I got
Okay.
the square body.
Yeah. I thought that one's Pro Charged also. The square
No,
body.
it was twin turbo.
Okay. All right.
Twin turbo LS.
Okay. Man, for some reason,
Come on, man. Come on.
I could have swore that thing is Pro Charged Big Block, the
Supposed
square
to
one,
be.
but okay.
No, that was that round body one.
Okay.
That was a pickup truck that they did.
Okay.
Did that too.
The 2014 Drag Week was the one at Tulsa, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I went back through my Facebook pictures at one time, and like I'd taken like 8 pictures over there. And I think Carl's Blazer was one of the pictures I had taken.
Yeah, you had sent me one picture of it at one time when you would.
Man, that's so crazy. That's so crazy. Me and a guy named Brian Lawson skipped work, called into work at JB Hunt. I worked at JB Hunt then, and drove over for the day. I was like, yeah, I got to do this. Then, it was another 6 years before I started.
That's what I did. I skipped work. I just
kept calling in every day.
Yeah.
I still got diarrhea.
That choking's about right. Just can't. I got gasoline poisoning.
Yeah, right. You probably did. I'm gonna bring Jesse Fox on too because he has great stories from early days of drag and drive as well. Oh, and hang on, I'm gonna bring on Brian and Jay. So for what you guys don't know is Brian and Jay have been backstage working on the Nova, the 850 class killer Nova for hours while we've been on. And Jay or Brian will message me and go, "Hey, whenever you want us, just text us. We're just working.
Hi.
No big deal. Hey guys." So yeah, lots of folks on here. So listen, let's run like the next, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 minutes till we get into some really good stories. I'm going to cap it at 4 hours total though.
38 minutes. Let's go.
30 minutes.
We got a lot to say.
I mean, well, and that's what happens. So like the cool thing about the group that's here right now is like there's a lot of folks that have a lot of history with the drag and drive and just car stuff in general. So I mean, who knows what we're going to end up in. So, but I would love for Jay and Brian to kind of introduce themselves, talk about the Nova real quick, and then that'll kind of set us off on a long story.
Who's talking shit?
Yeah, Ryan Harget's talking shit. We're supposed to be talking about the car.
Yeah.
Go, Jay. You're first.
All right. So my name is Jay Blanchard. I own JWire Solutions, one of the sponsors of Drag Drive Repeat. I do a lot of work on this car. You can't see an intake. There's a reason for that. Like,
I sent Mike a picture of
yeah,
what
the
we're doing.
car's
Yeah.
kind of in pieces. But yeah, that's
kind of in pieces. So tell us, holy shit, there's not an old pan on there either, dude. Y'all know we know you have like 3.5 weeks till sick week, right?
Yeah,
something like that. That's actually a mock-up block.
That's a mock-up block. We're doing some.
Oh God.
Holy Shuckles in Missouri.
Man, that's scary.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on pistons on the engine that goes back in it. How would you like to be that?
No, I'm scared.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully that all works out, but we always have a plan B.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Jay.
Yeah, there's the picture from Mike.
That's from 10 minutes ago, fellas.
Yeah. Bro. Yeah, there's no crankshaft in that. I mean, if you saw the bottom side of that engine, it's actually a windowed LC9 block. It's a Capizzi special from like his SBE days. Like, I think that block's actually been like 460s in the 8th. I think. Wow.
Not in this car.
Not in this car, but that block has been like 460s or something like that. But I think I can stick my thumb through a hole in both sides of the oil pan area. Yeah, with the skirt.
Yeah, 5 and 6.
Yep. All right, Stoney, what's the question?
If you were going to sing karaoke, what would you sing?
Okay, not the song you sung.
Yeah, not the song. That still gives me nightmares.
Well, that was like the most difficult song, like on the karaoke top 5 list of hard songs to sing.
Yeah, that's why I picked it.
Hey, I'll give you credit for getting up there, but that's it. Nothing
Hey,
more than that.
Oh, I know.
He did it, and we got to now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Ooh.
for everyone that doesn't know, where was that at? What event were we at?
We were at Six Summer.
Six Summer.
Yeah,
That's right.
Six Summer in Rockford, Illinois. It was that like Irish pub turned like karaoke bar.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Jonathan Stone Cipher.
So
saying
here's
karaoke.
a funny story about that one. So Drag Week 21, were we there? When were we in Rockford, Illinois for Drag Week? 20.
I think it was 21.
No, 21 was Martin.
21 was Martin. Yeah.
So it could have been 21, or was it 22 when we started and ended in St. Louis?
21 years
So I
in
think
St. Louis.
I think at 22 we were there, and it was still like mask era, and we got an Uber, and it was Riken was with us, and I can't remember who we had. I feel like we had 4 of us in the car, maybe 3 of us. So anyway, so we had to wear masks in the Uber. And we pull up to that place, and it's like bike night. It's like a Wednesday night, and so here's 3 guys with masks on getting out of a Toyota Prius, and there's like Harleys lined up along the sidewalk, and they're like, "Who the hell are these guys?" Right? And I'm like, "Oh my god, we're gonna get shot." There's the first story out of Fast Act Racing.
Scott and
TJ and Scott met us there.
Oh yeah, they didn't ride with us. So.
No, they got like an ovation because they rolled up in a turbo Fairmont.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're like, we're with those guys. We're with the cool guys. This Prius is like a wagon.
Yeah. Better MPG.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the only thing you can brag about. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Man. Well, we've had some great times together. When did Brian borrow the Saturn? Where were we at then?
That was Drag Week last year.
Yeah, 23. I had to go pick up my family from the airport. That was in North Carolina. While we were in South Carolina, I had to drive to North Carolina.
They flew in to come hang out, finished the last couple of days with him, and he was like, "Man, hey, I need a car. They're stuck."
So my kid Kyle tried to book an Uber 4 times from Charlotte to what was the town we were at in South Carolina?
Asheville or something. No,
it was like an hour, and they accepted the drive, and it was like $100. So 4 people took the Uber and then canceled, and each one charged his credit card, his debit card, to where they canceled his debit card. So he had no money. He was pissed. Yeah. Because they thought someone was scamming his card because of all the charges.
Yeah.
And so I had to borrow your car because he had no way to use any more of his money. It was pretty interesting.
But that was also, we broke a shock mount on that drive.
The day before we broke the transmission.
Yeah, the day before we broke the transmission, we were up till 3 o'clock in the morning the night before. I mean, that was a really bad. I'm gonna say like 72 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the water pump died on Friday. Yeah, it was
at the final day.
Yeah. Target. I remember that Brian was really happy.
Yes. But what got me through that drive was Michael Nark Saturn has a Bluetooth speaker up by the speedometer. That's like from Walmart that you can link your phone to, and that got me through the drive.
And it just blasts right at your face.
Yes. I didn't know how fast I was going, but I was listening to some great music.
Yeah.
So I
or
appreciate
how much
that.
gas is in the tank or what the temp's at. But hey, listen, that little Saturn's all over the country.
You can't see any gauges, but you're
Yeah.
rocking
Well, that's
out.
because the lights on the dash don't work. But hey,
Okay.
I know what it sounds like at 87, so it's fine.
All right.
Sounds like you need a wiring guy if your lights don't work. But
Not on that car.
You know one?
Hey, beggars couldn't be choosy. I appreciated it.
Yeah, hey, it worked. It was a lot of fun. The transmission story is interesting because you guys were doing really, really well in the 850 class and the street race small block power outer class. We go into Bristol, you turn in like an 1160 something or something like that, and then pull back to the pits. Something's wrong, and then Paul Powell ends up helping you rebuild it right there in the pits. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We knew the night before driving to Bristol. We were in denial for like the first half of the drive.
And then I tried to come up with every single excuse possible. And I'm like, well, we are going up in elevation, Brian. He's like, that's not going to be 30 degrees difference in trans temperature. Maybe we have an axle bearing going bad on the transmission or on the trailer, Brian. Well, we'll check that the next time. Maybe the fan's plugged, Brian. We'll check that the next time we
switched
stop.
the cooler fan. We tried everything until we finally came to grips that the trans was going bad. And then when we let go of the trans brake on that day at Bristol, it basically revved to the moon. And I, revved it down to that 11-second off and on the gas. It was pissed off.
Yeah.
Yep. So we have Paul. Keith Turk introduced me to him. I didn't know him, and he was a land speed racer, which some of you guys know I did that. So that was kind of a way to get us connected, and some local guys got us some parts.
Yeah, I remember that there was a wholesale shop.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it either. Right there in Bristol.
He's got a Colorado, like a dark blue Colorado, like a single turbo LS that he does drag and drive stuff with. And he's like, well, hell, my shop's just up the road. He's like, we don't sell to the public, but I can get you in the back entrance and somebody will help you out with parts.
Yeah, I literally went into their shipping receiving area and they sold me the parts at a back shipping dock. And it was pretty wild.
And the guys that drove us there had been following us for a couple days. They're really interested in drag and drive stuff. They're from
Mark White, and I don't remember.
Mark White and Jeff Wilson. So I've actually done wiring work for Jeff on a customer's car, and then they've got a twin turbo wagon they're building. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about that, but I'm supposed to be wiring that in the spring.
How cool.
It's a rowdy. It's got mirror image turbos and stuff on it, and air to water intercooled. And they're like, we're going to bomb around with 4 of us in this thing. We want to go 850s. They're like, this is the coolest shit ever, so.
Yeah. It is. And the Nova back there is one of the coolest cars out there, especially 850 stuff. So let's talk about that, dude, because like 850 cars are, that's my jam. I love that stuff. But like, what prevents you from wanting to go faster? Do you not want to cut the car up? Are you like, man, this is where I want to, like, you guys are so competitive with that, and you can't go any faster because you're cage limited.
Yeah, probably budget for me. I'm probably at my limits budget wise and time it takes to maintain the car.
Yeah.
Jay and I put a ton of time off the racing that just to keep the car serviced, keep it competitive. It's a lot of work. And I would assume a faster car is only more, so.
Mike, I literally hung my welding helmet up like 14 minutes ago, and I got here at 6.
Yeah.
And I've been going since.
We had a really good 2024 from not having a ton of breakages, but between races, the list to get in front of stuff was 12, 15 deep between every event. Whether it was,
and we talk about, there's this aspect of like being fortunate. So early in the season, we found we had plugged injectors, and we found them at a test session that had we not been at that test session, like it would have been at, it might have been at Carl's event.
Yeah,
we would have had problems at Carl's event.
Drop the hammer.
Mm-hmm. And then we go to Carl's event, and we literally are going to be the next pair down for the quick 8, and they end up canceling or because of track issues, they end up calling the race. Brian goes to start his car, and it sounds like all hell has come loose. And the flex plate has literally broken free. You guys have seen pictures. You follow our Facebook page. The center 6 bolts have broken free from the flex plate. Well, that was like going to be the next pass, which potentially could have been the first pass at Sick Week or at Six Summer.
Yeah.
Six Summer, we go on to win Six Summer, and then literally the first pass at an 850 race locally, Brian goes down the track. He's like, man, this thing sounds like marbles. And then puts it up on jacks, runs it. Everything seems like it's okay. And he literally goes to make another test pass. Let's go to transmit. The car goes like 4 feet and freaking blows the rear end out of it. So we managed to like have injector issues during testing. Okay. Whew. Broke the flex plate, literally starting the car after the end of Carl's race. Woo! Literally first pass after Six Summer, broke the rear end. Woo! You know, like we had this, you know, series of things, you know, and when it broke the rear end, it actually broke the input shaft in the transmission, and we didn't find out about that till 4 days before
to put it all back together and had the
Yeah, I literally pushed this thing outside just to keep the fumes out of the shop. Grab Christy. Hey, let's go for a test drive. She gets in. I put it in reverse. Nothing. Put it in drive. Nothing. I'm like, well.
Rev it up to see if it's like a pump issue. Like, rah, rah, rah. And it's nothing. Like,
yeah, 45 minutes I had the trans out. I was kind of grumpy, thinking that I had it all set. But so that was one of my record trans pulls. But yep, and got an input shaft, and we made it. But yeah, it's just we've dodged some bullets. But I also think you got to keep up on these cars if you're going to stay in the top 5 of that class. You can't get complacent, and because we've had so many things happen the first couple of years. We've had fuel cells crack. We've had transmissions blow up. So we're trying to just.
We kind of had like a run of like, just iffy or like I'll say suspect transmission stuff. And when we got stuff back together, it was just always kind of like, oh, cool. Like the trans is back together and everything's okay. Well, I mean, when Paul took the transmission apart, he's like, oh, this seal's torn. Have you guys overheated this transmission? And we're like, no, never.
Yeah.
Like,
no, not at all.
Not today.
Nothing gets used.
Literally, like that seal is like, it's a direct result of like overheating the transmission and stuff. And so we probably, you know, shouldn't go 3 seasons on a trans. We should go 2. And, you know, and Capizzi helps us out with transmission stuff. And so, I mean, Brian can have the trans out in 45 minutes, and literally John's like an hour and 25 minutes from here. So, I mean, we have local people. It's not like we've got to drive, you know, 10 hours or put a transmission in a crate to go have it worked on or anything like that. We have like local sources to help us with that stuff. So,
well, you know, you guys killed it in 2024. I mean, 4 850 events you guys won that I know of, and maybe more. I don't know. What's the plans for 2025?
Probably really similar to 2024. We have the same. We want to try to go for championship again, so we need 3 events. So we're probably going to do the 2 sick events and then drag week. You know, drag week is just one that I really want to win, so we'll probably always chase that one. And then we're doing the circuit.
You finished second. You finished second at drag week this year.
We did, yeah. We've
been second twice.
Yeah, we've been second twice. We finished second in 22 and then this year. And I forgot what I was going to say about. Lost my train of thought.
You're talking about the circuit and.
Yeah, so we're going to do drop the hammer. So that's about all the vacation time I have. So, I'll give you a little teaser. So my son Kyle, who like Carl of course knows him, and I know you know him, Mike, but he has bought a drag and drive car, and I'm not going to review what it is yet, but he's going to try to do Carl's drop the hammer race.
But for like $1 million, I'll tell you what it is.
So it's a cool setup. It's a project that was about 75% done, and we're hoping that we can have it ready and do some testing and have it ready for drop the hammer. Be like not an 850 type car, probably in the 10s or 10s or 11s. You know, we're not sure because we got to get out and test. But so yeah, I'm excited about that. That's something we've been working on over the winter too. And so we'll debut that.
Did I see his Mustang was for sale? The 4i the other day?
Yeah. So we drove to Missouri to buy that car, like 11 hours over by I forget the town. We met the guy part way, but we drove, 10, 11 hours to pick that up from someone who I've bought a car from in the past, and we had it like a month, and this other project came and kind of fell into our lap. That's way cooler. That's all I can say. So
cool.
We did an about face. We parted out the Mustang, sold the motor, sold the trans. He's down to just selling the roller, and then just to kind of help offset the new project. So I'm excited.
I like where Ryan's going here.
Yeah. So
it's horrible.
It's
car swap it. I mean,
not going to be cardi swapped, but so Kyle's project. Hopefully we'll get out there in June and do some testing, and he's excited. The vehicle was intended for drag and drive, so it was kind of already down that path with the hitch and some spare parts and road tires. It came with a lot of drag and drive, friendly stuff. It was intended for that. So that's all I'm going to say for now. I'll let Kyle reveal it, but yeah, it's cool. It's a cool project, and it's out right now getting some cage work, and hopefully it'll be back soon, and we'll tidy up the drive line and stuff like that. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Eric and I keep trying to push him to, like, let's start in this 10.0 SME 10.0 index, kind of run there with Rocky Mountain. I'd love for him to be able to do Mega Week, but I don't think the car will be ready by then. Just
Mega Week.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So maybe Rocky Mountain or Race Week next year with that car for that one. But yeah, I'd love to do some 10.0 stuff. I think that's probably the next big class we're going to focus on. Kind of that 10.0 plus stuff, just because with our point series, those guys don't get any extra points unless they win a class. So it's going to take somebody that's really doing some good shit. Like this year, Rick Dorn won it because he attended 3 events and because he got second at Drag Week. I mean, to be honest, that's why.
I don't know anybody else that's working on a pickup truck right now either. But.
I'm ready to see that thing out, dude. That's awesome.
It's gonna be a while. Like I'll put up. It's 100% dependent on how much is in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm gonna wheel and deal where I can, and it's gonna be 100% dependent on that.
I'd love to hit a 10.0 too, but has anybody ever won the 850 class with a nitrous car?
They're too slow.
I was going to say Randy Bellahar has probably come close in big block power rider, but I know he's won a couple. But I don't think small block.
Years, I can't think of anybody in the last 10 years that's not turbo or turbo LS.
Yeah,
that's in that really.
So Randy's twin turbo small block Ford.
Oh, that's a shame.
It's so weird.
Yeah. Nitrous guys don't get there, man. They don't get. Is it because they're not as consistent?
I don't know. I feel like the nitrous car is consistent. They're just really hard on valve train stuff. It's just you have to have big cams and stuff, and the valve train just doesn't last as long. I don't know how Schroeder does it. He obviously figured something out. But...
Yep. Well, I mean, I think valve train is, regardless of class, I think valve train is. I mean, I think that might be the equalizer.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at like big horsepower stuff, failures people are having,
the Pontiac's nitrous powered, right? The 67 or 68 silver Pontiac.
Bellahars.
Randy,
yeah.
Okay,
because like Randy. So there's some uniquenesses about the Pontiac rules, though, right?
Big block and small block.
Big block and small block, because they didn't the blocks didn't differentiate externally, I believe, between a small block and a big block.
Ryan and his coyotes, man.
I'm going to be friends with Ryan.
Yeah, I like Ryan. I dare you, Ryan. I dare you.
That'd be fun.
We need to see the Camaro out first. Then you can build a nitrous code.
Did Brian and Jay freeze?
It looks like it.
Maybe. It's either that or he's trying to think about what he's going to say. I'm going to look up some drag week historical stuff just real quick and see if I can figure it out.
We were just curious about that. We were sitting here talking about it while you guys were on screen and
I'm pretty sure you shot off with lip and said at one point that no nitrous car had ever won an 850 deal.
Yeah,
We're back.
I'm
I forgot.
almost of it. No small block, anyways.
Okay. I might have. I mean, small block.
Good thing we don't have those.
Yeah, I think good thing we don't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're good.
Sorry, we didn't mean to make a lull in the. Well, sing a song, bro.
Got a quartet up there. Is that what's going on?
Not a singer.
Me.
Very much a dancer in circuit,
Fluff,
but not a
fluff,
singer.
fluff, fluffer.
Anybody know John Wishman? And 95
No.
Ford Mustang?
No.
John Wishman's. Yeah, he does Rocky Mountain and stuff. He's actually an engine builder too, I believe. And then he brought a 55, and he's brought several different cars.
Well, this so in 2012, he won street race small block power adder with a 95 Mustang. But listen to this. This is crazy. 2012, the ET that won the class was an 889, and
I
number
was just
two,
gonna say it's 890.
yeah, number two was a 980, a 979, 98.
A lot's changed.
Oh shit! I mean, yeah. Jay, what did y'all run day one, and you were like in fourth place?
Drag week. We went 850 with a 6, and we were in 4th place.
I thought he was going to drink that. I was like,
Yeah, that was this year, Mike. The 2024.
That's
We
crazy.
came out fourth and with 6,000 soft perfect.
That was like Brian's like, well, I don't know what the hell else we got to do to like win something. Like,
Yeah, I think that much. Then.
Let's just go the fastest.
Is anybody else just watching Carl's TV?
It's a great episode.
there was some pretty good racing earlier.
There was.
Yeah.
That was
He's
sick
got the
week
Fu Manchu.
earlier this year, day 5.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Yeah, it looks like 2014 is when it really kicked off and really got so 868 won street race small block power adder in 14 with an 868 and then an 887 for second. But John Wishman took second in 2014, so one at 2012, one at 2013, second in 2014 with an 887.
And is he nitrous, Mike? Or no?
I
Or you're just going back to look to see.
Yeah, I'd have to dig through pictures. That's probably the hardest part about when I'm looking at this stuff is like, unless I can find photos or under hood shots where they're set up with them, I have no idea.
Well, I went to my first drag week in 2016 just to spectate and kind of do some reconnaissance. And they used to do a crazy 8s. I don't know if Carl would remember that. But the 850 guys on the final day, they would let the top 8 guys just run their cars wide open. And I remember guys going 7s on, back in 2016 in street race small block power adder. They'd take the top 8 guys and run them head to head on a ladder and just no holds barred. They'd kind of look away on the roll cage.
Wow.
And I think they did that for
And all the rules guys got.
They did it from 16 to 18 for sure. And those guys had 7-second capable cars 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, it's been crazy for a while.
Well, and like, you start looking at.
Yeah, I was at Cordoba watching.
Go ahead. I think there's a small delay. I like cut Brian off every time he's talking. Sorry.
I think it's us.
No. Brian was talking about Cordoba.
That's them living in the boonies.
Yeah, it's gotta be. That's awesome. Let me switch it to a different
I'm gonna use my Wi-Fi hotspot.
So yeah, sorry for the side road there, but yeah, it doesn't look like, unless we know of John Wishman and his 95 Mustang was a nitrous car, it doesn't look like it's been nitrous for a street race small block power rider win forever. Oh, ouch, man, Ryan.
Ryan,
bro.
Doesn't he have a Camaro to work on? Shouldn't he be fixing his car?
What an asshole.
Yeah.
Fixing it. He's got to put it together first.
Yeah. What are you doing, Ryan? Go wrench on that Camaro.
He's tired of working on that thing. He's like, dude, I need a break.
It was that
Trevor
PRI with a car show engine in it.
Damn,
Rocking that car show engine.
Ouch. That's
This is getting heated, man.
Yeah. I can't wait to see that car come out. Yeah, you start thinking about the cars that could make news in 2025. I mean, it's a pretty damn long list of cars that are going to be brand new builds for Dragon Drive.
This is gonna be a wild year. I mean, just looking at all the new cars that are coming out, it's like this is gonna be sick.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big one. All right, let's run down this last 10 minutes. Who's got a good story? Who wants to tell something?
Yeah, it's a show mod. That's
Yes.
Yeah.
It does look really nice, Ryan.
Yeah.
Rough crowd.
That build setup is gonna be badass. Who wants to tell a story to finish out the 4-hour live stream here to end the year? Not everybody at once.
I mean, what type of story you want?
I'm worried about our LS internet. Fucking
I'm worried about our country bumpkin internet.
I want to hear Jesse talk about the drive.
About the what?
Wasn't there an event that you were like, you had like a day and a half or 2 days or something to get 1,000 miles? What was the story?
Oh, that was yeah. I talked about that earlier in the stream. It was between Big Sky and Rocky Mountain Race Week.
Oh yeah. It was like it was 1,200 miles, and you had literally like a day and a half, right?
Yeah, it was fine.
The other one you can talk about is your 666 Storm.
Oh,
dude, yeah, that was a good one.
Oh yeah, everybody else missed out on that. I don't know why you guys didn't stick around. That was a good time. No, we had we went out to the Trinity side after Route 66, and it was the one day a year that it's open, which was really, really cool that it lined up with that. So we went out and saw where the first atomic bomb had been detonated. Then came back on our way back because it was the exact opposite direction of where I needed to go to come home, and just went right back to Roswell. Was like, I'm just going to spend the night in Roswell. Well, come to find out, a record storm hit Roswell that night, and they got the most amount of rain on record that they've ever got in a single day. And it, which is only like 5.5 inches, but desert, and
that's a big number, by the way.
Yeah, 5.5 inches is huge.
Okay.
Like, for sure.
Yeah, not that kind of trip.
Yeah. Anyway, it flooded the town real bad, and I was camping in it in my car. And then the next morning, I was thankful. I was blessed that I was up on the high side of town, but it was. I tried to leave the place that I had originally parked because I was going to go in to get something to eat, and it had. I mean, I had water coming in the door sills, so it was not great. I turned around and spent the night there, and next morning got up and saw the destruction. It was bad. Downtown was pretty wrecked. A Ford dealership had like all the cars just swept downstream and were like stuck underneath this train trestle. It was bad. I think 4 people lost their lives in that. And it was it was not my best experience camping, but it was a unique one for sure. So, yeah.
That had to be one of the craziest trips to be on for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Midwest guys out there, look, you can see a storm coming in. We don't think anything about a storm, whatever. It's just a pop-up storm. Well, that's not a big deal. We can take, we get 8, 9, 10 inches of rain, whatever. I mean, it's a lot, but we can handle it. It's whatever. Out there, it's a whole different ball field. Like, they don't even have drainage systems on the roads. Like, it's ridiculous. So it was bad.
That's crazy. All right, y'all listen. I want to say thanks to everybody that hung out tonight. We've had great numbers all night. I don't know what anybody else is doing. It's Friday night. People just hanging out here. Hopefully, everybody at home is having as much fun as I've had. Thanks everybody that like hung out backstage forever. Like I think Jesse was backstage for an hour and a half, just waiting on his chance to come up. Thanks for Carl for being on, dude. He was one of the first guys on backstage.
Bro, he's been on like all night.
I know it was great, man. It was really a lot of fun. I can't wait to hang out with you guys. 2025 is going to be nuts. It's crazy to think that this wouldn't have been possible. Like, yeah, I would have never done this without Jonathan Sumcipher there with the Gearhead guys. And just want to say thanks. I know I tell him that all the time, but man, it's pretty amazing what the entire drag and drive community has become since 2014, dude. I really think that was like we talked earlier. That first 10 years was cool. We just finished the second 10 years of drag and drive racing. What's the next 10 years going to bring? It's going to be awesome. All right, we're kicking you guys off. Everybody else say bye, and then Eric and I will close the show out.
See you guys. Nice hanging with you.
Bye. See you, boys.
Thanks, everyone.
Man, dude, what a crazy show tonight! Holy crap, man! That was a great one. Oh, what? I cut you off. Sorry, what'd you say?
Everybody love everybody.
Everybody love everybody. All right, bye.
When's the last time we did a 4-hour show, man? It's been a long time.
A long time.
And my rear end here, sitting in this chair, remembers why. We don't do it very often.
Yeah, and what's been wild tonight is like really we've moved through a ton of guests. We've talked to a ton of people. There's been a lot of stories told, a lot of people introduced to our fans and all that kind of stuff for folks for them to follow along throughout the year and stuff. And I think that's really what is the most fun that I have with this is the introduction of just really. There's people that are out there that wouldn't know these folks if we didn't talk about them. They wouldn't know these folks if they did. I don't know, man. It's just really fun to think about what is coming and to see the growth in the first 10 years. All that stuff to me is a spreadsheet now. Like I didn't know those guys. I didn't see that stuff, and then doing. Tulsa 2014 was cool. I wish I had taken more pictures then. And who knows, dude, there may be more photos on who knows where that phone is, But if I had that stuff, would I still have those photos? Would I post them up more? Who knows,
Right.
And now, you and I are helping document the growth, the industry, the just everything that's going to come from this, as we move for the next 5 or 6 years in this and the next 10 for sure. It's going to be completely different. So, we're seeing these OG guys that are, some of them struggle with the growth that we've seen from the community, but we have a lot of new people. I mean, there's thousands of people. Like think of 2014, there was literally 300 and something people in the drag and drive community that raced that year. This year, just in national level events, there were 2,200, 2,400, something like that, 2,490 or something like that.
Right.
Like, think about that.
200 of them did more than one event. So that number is almost the same amount as we had total back then.
Yeah. So it's really pretty cool. And like I said, when Jesse was on, everybody talks about saturation. We're not even close. There's tens of thousands of drag racing fans that are out there that don't even know what this is yet.
Right.
Like people haven't even experienced this yet.
There's states that still have never had a drag and drive yet.
Yeah. And I mean, as we put together our 2025 schedule and we look at stuff, new events are a big thing for us this year. I want us to hit new stuff. I want us to meet new people and still hit all those, the OG stuff, the big events, that we talk about all the time and stuff. And so like, I don't know. I just want to say thanks to everybody that's been on this ride with us. We've had a crazy 3 years. You start thinking about name changes and all the stuff that's come from the last 3 years. We've really, 2024 has been an opportunity for us to buckle down, and we've done what we've done the whole time, but this has been different. And 2025 is going to be y'all ain't seen shit. I'm telling you, right? You ain't seen shit. We've it's been awesome. I can't wait. Thank you guys. Appreciate everybody out there doing all the stuff you do, and we'll see you soon. Real quick, thank you to our sponsors: Summit Racing, Valley Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D. Love you, Corey. WAF Racing, Chris Wozniak, dude. I know we're going to see each other soon. Performer Built Transmissions. Can't wait to hang out with that dude. J-Wire Solutions is on tonight. Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, Power Tube TV, Racing Junk Classifieds. Man, without those guys, we couldn't do this. And hopefully we get to add a few more to that are going to be coming into the Drag and Drive community. So, all right, guys, we'll see you next time.
Yep. Thanks to everybody that we had on for guests tonight, and hopefully everybody has a good and safe New Year's. See you guys.